They tell some pretty hefty fish stories. We don't know if they're true or not.
And now it's time for Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's talk hookup. For the next 2 hours, join Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Maxa, Corey Sandin, and this week's special expert guest for fishing information, new techniques to catch more fish, and the most current scoop on what's happening in the water. Let's Talk Hookup is sponsored in part by Royal Polaris, the world's finest long-range sports fisher. By Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup, and Shimano Rods and Reels. Fish with the best. Shimano. Get ready for the fastest 2 hours on radio with the hosts of Let's Talk Hookup, Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Maxa, and Corey Sandin.
Good morning, anglers, and welcome to Let's Talk Hookup. I'm Pete Gray with Rock Cod Rick Maxa. We're in the world headquarters of Let's Talk Hookup here right next to the San Diego landings in Point Loma. And we have the whole crew from Bight Sportfishing here. We have Brandon, Jake, and Alex are here. We're going to be having some fun talking all kinds of fishing here on Let's Talk Hookup. So you stay tuned. This is Southern California's sport fishing voice. It's Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app, on YouTube and Facebook Live, and 97.3 The Fan. Inside information is everything when it comes to catching fish in Southern California. You need a code group to connect with what's happening on the water. FishDope.com is your code group. Inside information available at your fingertips 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. FishDope.com really does help you catch more fish and burn less fuel. FishDope.com is the only fish finding service with a spotter plane, along with a crew of top anglers on the water almost every day that report actual locations and catches. They become your code group. You get daily catch reports from Point Conception to San Quintin, 365 days a year. FishDope.com has online planning tools, temperature and chlorophyll charts, hot bite icons, and more. Take it from me, if you don't have FishDope.com, you're not part of the in-the-know crowd. Membership is affordable and good for an entire year. Plus, use the special code and save $30 on a new FishDope.com membership. Check it out today. FishDope.com. Catch more fish, burn less fuel. This year, make reliable boating your resolution and back it with exhilarating deals with a new Yamaha outboard during Yamaha's New Year, New Reliability sales event. From now until March 31st, 2025, purchase a new eligible Yamaha 450 to 30 horsepower outboard and get up to 7 years of coverage protection. Looking to hit the water with lower horsepower? There's a deal for you too. Purchase a new Yamaha 25 to 2.5 horsepower outboard and receive up to $200 in dealer credit toward the purchase of additional goods and services. Don't miss this limited time offer. Visit your local Yamaha dealer today. Yamaha, reliability starts here. Offer ends March 31st, 2025, subject to change. Other restrictions and conditions apply. Select models exclude 24-month Yamaha extended service added to a 36 or 60-month factory limited warranty. Choice offered to Florida residents is a 24-month Yamaha limited warranty. See authorized participating Yamaha outboard dealer for details. Cannot be used with any other Yamaha offer.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup, man. What a fun day it is to have the entire crew. And it's my favorite part about this time of year is like, you know, these guys normally are gone every single day, fishing every day, doing something crazy every day. And it's so rare that we get to have all the boys in one spot. Today's going to be a great show.
You don't see this.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's that time of the year and the weather. Of course.
Yeah, weather's not exactly beautiful right now, but that's all right.
But yeah, if you were looking at us on YouTube and Facebook Live or on 97.3 The Fan or on our app, Theater of the Minds on those two, we have Jake here, we have Alex here, and the empty seat is Brandon because he's in the bathroom. But he'll be here, but we have the whole crew, so it's great to have him.
Yeah, today's going to be a rad show and just a lot of fun. And you guys have had a very serious run and just coming off an extremely successful PCS show. That was a lot of fun to get to see everybody and hang with the whole crew.
Were you guys all there at the PCS show?
We were.
Yeah,
we were.
The whole
4
crew.
days.
Yeah, there's Brandon. Hi, Brandon. Yeah. Great to have you. And so, Brandon, you've assembled quite the crew here with Bight Sportfishing, haven't you?
Yeah. Hey, good morning.
You've got a mic on your headphone there.
Oh, yeah. You got the airplane mic.
So there you go.
You could land a 737 with that thing.
Good morning. Thanks for having
You're
us.
loud and clear there. So, so tell us about your crew here.
Yeah. It's wild to kind of look back at everyone who's been here and in the boats and everything else. But this year we have Jake. I think this is Jake's 5th or 6th season. and
Swordfish master.
Swordfish master. He's still the only one who's never got a complaint. But
Wow.
yeah, incredible.
Not one.
Not one.
Yeah.
I get complaints about myself.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. I'm not even a tiny bit surprised about that.
Most of those come from me.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So Jake's always doing a great job, and definitely the swordfish, the master of all things. Cool thing about Jake is he's so adaptable. I mean, there's certain guys you can put in any spot and they're going to figure it out fast, whether it's life or fishing or whatever, and he can figure out a fishery fast, hadn't fished Catalina before, and he's like a top tier Catalina fisherman a few years later, which isn't easy. That's a very humbling place,
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then we have Alex this year. I fished with Alex the last couple of years on the Royal Star on the Bight charter. Always super impressed with his presence, his demeanor, his fishing skills, all of his levels. Incredible presence on deck and crazy energy. Like, he's there and he's in control without controlling, which is a rare quality. You know what I mean? So
talk about another person that you get so many positive feedback. When we were at the tackle store there, just so many people love fishing with Alex when you were on the boat. And I thought that was such an exciting move for you guys. Cause again, just somebody that you heard nothing but great things from all the passengers from.
Yeah. So no, we're super excited to have him, and we're all going to have a great season together. And we can't forget Henry. We can't forget Henry. Henry's like our mascot. Henry's our new deckhand. He's 18. Wow. He's a senior in high school, and I look at him and I see a senior in high school. But we all worked down here when I was 16, 17, 18. I worked on an overnight boat, and we had this level of responsibility. And some of the great long range skippers, they were running boats at 19. You know, he's like a kid who came out of the 90s. He's got a strong work ethic. He's incredibly polite. He loves fishing as much as anyone I've ever seen, so we got him around. So it's really cool for me because I get to work with someone in their teens, 20s, 30s, and now I'm in my mid 40s. So we have
You're that old.
in the fishing landscape, I'm still kind of young.
Yeah.
But when I do the
I'm just
show,
joking about
no.
that.
But when I do the show, I look back at it, and when Rick and I worked at Western Outdoor News, I was in my mid 20s, and a lot of the people, that were in my age or 50s are now 70 and such in our
Tell
landscape.
me about
It's
it.
crazy. Look at the cover of the newspaper.
Yeah.
Anyways, no, thanks to that. So we have a great team. I'm legit never been so excited for a season. They kind of put some fresh air into my sails as well. That's cool. And it's cool to be able to talk to guys who have so much fishing knowledge, love for fishing, and you can have a heavy fishing conversation with them.
That's cool.
So yeah, I don't think I could groom anyone, or there's no one else out there that could have the same kind of repertoire, if you will.
Pretty cool.
Bight Sportfishing just rolls with the punches so good, no matter what fishing gives up for the season, whatever fish it might be or wherever it is. You guys are the best at adapting to it and taking the best. And clearly the team that you've assembled is really good with that too. You guys might be fishing sea bass for a month straight, and then the next day switch to tuna fishing, and then
maybe the same trip.
Yeah, sure. It's just really cool to see. And it's really cool to see the team that you guys are all together. It seems like everybody's on that same program, just as comfortable being at the island one day and offshore the next and back for the afternoon. It's really fun to watch.
One thing I've learned at 45
ripe old age
is we don't learn by talking, right? And we are in an industry where a lot of people talk a lot, or talk at you, or talk over you, or those types of things, right? You learn by listening. You learn by listening to people who are good at what they do or have experiences and such. And it's really cool to work with people that you can just sit down and listen to and learn so much. So thanks, guys.
So Alex, what's it like to be on the Bight team now?
It's very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
The whole small boat thing is rather new to me. I spent my whole life on the big boats, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's very, very different, very refreshing.
Yeah. You like it?
I do.
And which boat are you running?
All of them.
All of them.
Whatever Brandon tells me to run.
Yeah. Okay. And what's your favorite thing? Sea bass, swordfish, tuna? What?
Island fishing.
Island fishing. You like going sea bass fishing?
Anything. Island fishing. Give me island fishing. Let's go.
Okay. That's very good. And Jake, of course, you are kind of known as the swordfish master, but like Brandon said, you have mastered sea bass and all the other stuff too, right?
Yeah, my roots come from island fishing. I feel like we all share the same love for that.
Yeah.
Like that's our first choice. I do love swords though. That's if I could pick one thing to do all the time for the rest of my life, it would be that. But island fishing is my roots and what I get really excited for.
What happened this past season? I mean, this past fall when we're supposed to really get them, did you get any?
On the swordfish tip?
Yeah.
This last season was super depressing with them. We never really got our push a hake, which is a deep water bait that they like. That kind of came in way after the fish this year. It came in too late. So when all that fish came through, there was no food for them. They just kept swimming.
Yeah.
That wave of big ones was pretty gnarly though.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh yeah. Right. Like there was like a 1 or 2 week window, right?
In
October, was it?
Yeah. That was like akin to the school of 55 to 75 pound sea bass.
Right.
That was insane.
We do a lot of our ordering of gear for the tackle store with Swordfish, literally based on these guys. Bight is usually the very first on it, meaning they'll sneak crew trips, or Dylan will be going, or whatever the scenario might be. They're usually going early, and it's like a slight window into the gauge of how the season was going to be. And we just about wrote it off this year. It was way later than normal in terms of the season goes. It was almost a month into when we would normally be catching fish. Nobody had caught any. The drift buoy guys, everybody. There was so little that we almost didn't make the purchase of buying all the squids and all the deep gear. And then a light switch, somebody caught one. And then the next day there was 3 or 4 guys that went and they all had bites. And then the next day there was 5 fish caught. And it was such this mass scramble for getting swordfish gear and tackle and everything together for the shop. And then there was a week of just insanity. It's everybody that went, there was multiple bites a day and they were all 400 pounders. And these guys pulled on one for 13 hours and it went away. Just these crazy stories. And then just as fast as it started, it seemed like there was hardly another bite for the fleet and it just went away. It was a really wild one this year.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Yeah, for sure. But then there's sea bass, right? This is the time of the year when Mark Wish's trees start blooming and he says the sea bass are supposed to bite, right?
Right.
So what's the story on that?
I just love that fish so much. And I probably brain drift into various sea bass X-rated movies 15 times a day. Still, the weather's been horrible. Weather, it's been horrible weather. There's no consistency. So piggybacking on the swordfish, this is the first spring where we never caught sea bass, lobster on the same trip. Lobster was middle of the road at best, and we caught no sea bass. We never had sea bass conditions, working conditions, water conditions, any of it.
Yeah.
So that's the bad news. The good news is when I started the business, I wouldn't take charter bookings until middle of May. 3rd week of May is when I started. And then we had for sea bass, right? It's like Watson says, it's a June fish. It's always been a June fish. Jake had probably the best Catalina, most consistent Catalina fishing we've had ever last year, middle of July. So it's going to happen. We moved our fishing groups for the next 10 days. I told them it's cool. It's cold water. There's all these storms. We're not going to catch squadouche, in my heart of hearts, and I rarely break predictions, my heart of hearts, I think is going to be a really, really, really good sea bass year. I think we're going to catch them again local, or I know we're going to catch them again local.
Ooh, I like that.
We have kelp.
Why do you say that?
We have kelp again in a couple of key spots, and we had all that squid. We had squid this winter where we hadn't had squid since 2014, So I think all that's going to happen, but I think it's going to be a May thing. I think we're going to scratch and get some fish in April at the island. March, April's always a swing month or swing months. It can go either way.
Alex, what do you like about island fishing?
What do I like? What do I like about island fishing? I grew up doing it.
Where you grew up in
Long Beach.
In Long Beach,
yeah, Long Beach. Working on the 3/4 day boats, half day boats, and whatnot. So the whole bass fishing, the island fishing, structure fishing is my thing. It's always been my roots, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
So what do I like about island fishing? Just it can change so fast, right? Everything can just change on a light, literally just like that on a light switch. So you never know what you're gonna get. It's never consistent. You always have to work at it.
Yeah.
You have to go fishing, right? Yeah. Island fishing, you actually have to go fishing. Yeah. Versus offshore, offshore you have your variables, right? It's more consistent than island. Island, you really have to bring out the fisherman in you. I guess that's what I like about island fishing.
Yeah,
that's cool.
What about you, Jake? What do you like about island fishing?
Same thing. I mean, I feel like island fishing, you really can see the guys who are consistent and can actually kind of know what they're doing more. versus offshore. I mean, offshore, you could just drive around and get lucky. You could just drive endlessly until you see a bird or a foamer or whatever. Island fishing, you're kind of like most of the year, like we don't even have our radios on. We don't talk to anybody. We don't see anybody. You're going out, you're like actually in your own head, like focusing, like looking, trying to line things up and put it together. And when you can find the right conditions and make everything work and put a day together and it works out, it's the most rewarding thing ever.
The challenge.
It's
right?
also
all a big challenge.
It's such a pure, you can pick whatever word you want. It's such a pure style of fishing.
Yeah.
You find your own bait. You catch your own bait. You bring your bait somewhere and fish it. You use recall of past spots and get to put all these pieces together. You know what I mean? It's really neat. And that's not taking the piss out of offshore fishing. There's art to that as well, and figuring out the wind and the kite and all that other stuff. But the code's been cracked on the bluefins, you know. Sea bass, that's still something that's a lost art, man.
Yeah.
One of the things that I thought just sounded like the coolest fishery that I just haven't been able to thread the needle in time and go to where it was, but like we would get reports from Jake all the time, was that like fluke lure, shallow water sea bass fishing and halibut fishing that you guys had done. And that just to me sounded, I haven't got to go when it was right, but it sounded like the coolest way that you could catch those things. And what's different, or, you know, it just doesn't feel like that's something that you guys did 10 years ago and back, but now it seems like such a popular way to catch them. You know, what was that fishery like, and how'd you guys stumble across it, and just all those things? I just think that's such a cool way that you guys were catching those fish recently.
We've always had it. It just kind of got blown up, which still kind of bugs me a little bit.
Not
really, but it's just a bummer. Yeah, and it all originated just because there's so much area up there. It's like Catalina, every single place is a spot, but the way we fish them up there is different. There's none of that like milky water really that you get at Catalina, where it kind of like confines your areas, or isolated kelps and stuff. You go to the back of Santa Cruz, the whole thing's a kelp. So what we do is the water's clear. You just drive super slow along the whole line until you see them, and they're like, okay, well, this is where they are, and then you fish them right there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's the advantage of Bight Sportfishing, is you guys are mobile, right? You can go where the fish are.
Yeah, absolutely. We run out of Cisco's Channel Island Sport Fishing in Oxnard. We put the tower on the Freeman last year. That helped a lot.
Oh, I bet.
Huge.
But I've fished sea bass from Halama around the corner of Point Conception to the border, below the border. That's what the Southern California Bight is. The Bight is from Point Conception to the U.S.-Mexico border.
Why did the tower on the Freeman change things?
Sight fishing those sea bass.
Sight fishing the sea bass.
I did it like what Rick was saying. I did it for the first time last year. Jake's a master up there.
Yeah.
And you're driving around in the tower of the Freeman, looking in less than a fathom of water, 5 feet of water, for schools of sea bass, and throwing your rubber worm in there.
Yeah, and that's fun. At the Channel Islands.
That's at the Channel Islands.
Yeah, you can, not so much Catalina.
They'll bite it at Catalina, but it's not the same. Yeah. Catalina, that's happened like 3 times in my life where there's visual sea bass up, you know. But yeah, no, the Channel Islands are an amazing place, and we added another boat. So Jake will have a big cat with the tower in Channel Islands. Alex will run the Freeman, and then the boss gets to drive the little pickup truck to work.
So are you all cats now?
100% catamaran.
100% catamaran.
3. We're in the process of getting an Invincible. Just kind of the give and take of paperwork and things like that with that. But yeah, all catamarans. Wow. Dylan turned me on to cats. Dylan has his 1,600-ton master's license. He's our other captain. Lifelong friend, amazing fisherman, amazing sword fisherman, attention to details, next level. He has a big captain's license. He ran ships in the Red Sea and has been all over the world, and was introduced to cats in the Marshall Islands. And he was like, dude, you should think about cats and check them. I went on the catamaran search. We all went to Louisiana. We fished with the operations that use them there. Everywhere else in the world, they use catamarans for and go fast monohulls, but mostly catamarans for big runs. We were the only ones. I said this on the show for years. We're the only ones who are trying to run monohull pilot houses 80 or 90 miles. Right. It's not about the boat. It's just the function of it. Like, what is it about catamarans? A litany of things. They're more stable. They're excellent on fuel. They cut through wind and chop. Incredible. And you look anywhere in the world, Australia, New Zealand, Tasmania, other places, they're all cats.
And what are the disadvantages of a cat in your eyes?
It depends on the build of it. With the Freeman, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Cold, the lack of cover, but I hedged that with the Mexicat because it's got a little pilot house. But yeah, you're exposed to the elements more, so you want to dress warm, right? Just throw on a couple layers. You too, Alex. Otherwise, nothing. Your stern is like your bow. So I went to Catalina a week ago. You got 4 guys fishing up in the bow, casting and doing all those things. It's incredibly stable. They're great boats. The cost, they cost
the price tag.
They cost twice as much because it's 2 hulls, twice as much material and craftsmanship.
So they're actually more efficient on fuel with 2 engines.
Oh, incredible! I get better fuel on a 34 Freeman than I did on a 28 Parker.
No kidding.
With 450s.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's wild.
And go twice as fast.
Twice as fast, comfortably.
Yeah, you like going fast, Alex?
Oh yeah,
Driving a boat all your life at 10 knots, right?
Oh man,
what's it like going 40 now?
Ooh, man,
you like it?
You get there fast.
Yeah,
a lot more options.
I got to Catalina. I ran a trip after the PCS show on Saturday. I'm cheating from the jetties to the lobster spot, 32 minutes.
Come on,
wow!
And not even driving it fast, like
at Catalina, the lobster spot at Catalina.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Crazy.
That's wild.
Pretty nice. That was on the Freeman?
That was on the Freeman.
How have things changed on the Freeman since you guys did the big repower?
Jakey?
The fuel efficiency and stuff is pretty similar. It just handles a lot better. I mean, we needed it because we added 2 slammers to the in-deck bait tanks so we could hold more bait. And with the amount of people and stuff that they bring and water weight from the bait tanks and stuff, the boat gets really heavy really fast. So the boat it did great before. It performed awesome with the original 350s that we had on it, but just give it that little extra
now it's got
take
200
off
more horsepower.
It's
got
got
twin 450s.
900
cool.
Max horsepower.
Max horsepower.
That's so cool.
Well, as you can hear, I have a great show lined up for you today.
Yep, pretty rare to have
talent.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, pretty rare to have this much knowledge sitting with us. It's gonna be a lot of fun today. If you want to join us, man, we want to hear from you. Give us a call this morning at 833-288-0973. That's how you reach the fan studios this morning. Again, 833-288-0973. We're standing by to grab your calls or send us a text. Texting the show is so popular here now on Let's Talk Hookup. The only way to text in your questions is through the Let's Talk Hookup app. It's a free download. It's the easiest way to listen to Let's Talk Hookup. You can follow all the archive shows, all those great past shows, the great shows you had over the weekend. Last weekend when we were up at PCS were awesome. And all those shows are available through the Let's Talk Hookup app. And again, it's the only way you can text in your questions to the Bight team today. When you do, make sure you include your contact info. Just a name and a phone number is all we need in case you win that great prize at the end of the show today. And boy, what a great prize we are giving away. One lucky caller or texter at the end of the show today is going to get to go fishing on a full day trip on board the San Diego at a C4 Sport Fishing. A great opportunity to go fishing with Captain Ryan, Captain Matt, and get in on all the great fishing that the San Diego will be doing this year. A full day trip to one lucky caller or texter at the end of the show. Again, text us through the app or 833-288-0973 is the number. When we come back, we're going to be taking your phone calls. Lots of great info coming your way. You stay tuned. You're listening to Let's Talk Hookup, Southern California's sport fishing voice on the Let's Talk Hookup app, YouTube and Facebook Live, and 97.3 The Fan.
24 years ago, I visited this amazing place called Hawaii Archipelago. I just could not get enough of this amazing islands. Natural beauty, friendly people, and phenomenal fishing. I knew I needed to spend more time there. Moving forward to today, here I am, a fishing lodge owner. Hi, this is Valerie Hopridge from Queen Charlotte Safaris in beautiful Hawaii Islands, British Columbia, Canada. We're a boutique lodge just steps from the Sanskrit Harbor, offering truly a unique fishing adventure. Our fishing is world-class. You will fish for king salmon, halibut, lingcod, crabbing, and much more. Our fishing grounds are unspoiled, untouched, and surrounded by stunning scenery. We're dedicated to making your venture an experience that will bring a lifetime of memories. We will welcome you as friends, and you will leave as part of our Queen Charlotte Safaris family. We are booking now. Please give me a call at 1-877-815-2892 or check us out on Instagram, Facebook, or visit our website, qcsafaris.com.
Hey, this is Captain Benny Florentino, owner-operator of Coastal Charters. Just want to announce that I'll be running the Camus 26 hybrid boat from West Coast Marine in Costa Mesa. Hybrid being a center console with bay boat features. The boat features a Michael Peters stepped hull that'll give both myself and my guests a comfortable dry ride. West Coast Marine in Costa Mesa will be carrying the 26 hybrid, 28 hybrid, and also a 34 cat. Heck, they even have some great looking bass boats. But if you have any other questions, feel free to call Nick Kelly or Kyle Mesa at West Coast Marine in Costa Mesa, and we'll see you on the water.
Take it from Captain Benny Florentino. West Coast Marine in Costa Mesa is your source for Camus boats, as well as Parker boats, Yamaha outboards, and now Mercury outboards. Sales and service, the finest you can find. Go see Nick and the guys at West Coast Marine on Newport Boulevard in Costa Mesa, or check westcoastmarine.com.
Whether you're boating, floating, paddling, fishing, or just chilling, remember, a good day on the water always starts with everyone wearing life jackets. Save the ones you love. Life jackets save lives. A message from California State Parks Division of Boating and Waterways.
Do you know why 1 million customers visited Summit Gasoline last year at the San Diego Sports Arena? Because they give you the lowest price on fuel. Great service and easy access, even for trucks and trailers at their 24 pumps. Summit is known for the best price on ice, too. Almost half the cost of any other vendor. 25 pounds for just $3.99. Martha and her crew love fishermen, and they'll prove it by giving you 100 pounds free with a 35-gallon fill-up. Summit offers over 40 snacks and drinks to choose from for only 89 cents, and even a line of hand creams and lip balms for 89 cents, too. Summit now proudly offers locally made burritos and sandwiches, made fresh daily and ready to go wherever the current takes you. Summit just upgraded their car wash, and for a limited time, get a deluxe car wash for only $6. Grab the wife's car, grab a cheap sandwich, and make up for the day on the water. Summit Gasoline, lowest prices, friendliest staff, easy access, and free ice. What more can you ask for?
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup, man. What a great time today again is going to be. If you want to get through, phones are already getting packed up. 833-288-0973, and lots of great texts stacking up for the boys as well. Today's going to be a great show.
Yeah, let's jump into those fan phone calls.
You got it, man. We're going to start it off this morning with Mike. He's calling us from Torrance. Good morning, Mike. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, good morning, team. How you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Good.
Brandon, I love what you're doing with your career. You're giving so many people opportunities to catch the big bluefin and catch the sea bass and the lobster trips.
Oh, well, thank you.
The journal that you put out is incredible. I'm looking for the journal coming back. I hear that you've got more issues coming, or can you explain a little bit more about your process with the journl?
Yeah.
And hope to be able to get out and fish some bluefin with you this year.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, thank you. What a great first question. So I published the Bight. I did 7 issues of that. It fell off around COVID time for a litany of reasons. 2 of them being printing costs and mailing costs. I've worked through those, and we've been actively finishing the next issue.
Cool.
Spoiler alert, I've been interviewing Frank Lopresti. We're going to do a big profile on him.
Right.
A long overdue, properly done profile on like the godfather of sport fishing.
Cool.
So on a selfish level, it's been really neat to spend time with him, and I've learned a lot about myself and fishing and just different ways to view things and things like that. So I'm doing that. So that's kind of the spoiler alert on a big
cool
profile. It's a cool challenge for myself to step back into writing. Surfer's Journal, and Scott Hewlett, the former editor of Surfer's Journal, he's my best friend, and he is a big mentor of mine. And I've never challenged myself in writing to like step up to the plate and write a Surfer's Journal style 40 or 50 page profile. So I'm doing that with Frank. He actually has the photos to support a lot of it, which when you write a story, people always have these ideas about writing, but it's like, where do the photos come from? He has a well of incredible photos over the years.
So cool.
Really cool.
That's going to be great. So when can we see that?
That will 100% be here in July.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You have a sure date?
I have 100%.
Are you guys
sure.
believing
Go.
this?
Maybe. I brought you into this world. I can take you out. So, things ebb and flow in life, and it's just how it goes. And that was the path of the Bight. And I'm going to do 2 more in the traditional format, and the face of print has changed, where I want to do something where it's a hardbound incredible construction, yearly thing. It gets released like a party and all that stuff. So I'm going to do 2 more of these issues. I'm creating them both side by side, so I don't have to deal with the nausea of printing and Hong Kong and all this stuff.
Are they going to release at a different time?
They'll be different times. Yeah. But
then so how does one get a subscription or
I stopped doing subs, so they'll be sold as a one-off in tackle shops and things like that.
Okay.
The big issue is
so you pick them up.
The big issue,
and it's a physical issue. You can't get this issue online. And that's the cool thing about the Bight Journal is that it's something you have to hold.
It's the construction of it that makes it
cool.
The underlying thing, with not to make excuses but reasons. When I started, you could pre-sort your issues and mail them for $2.32, and then they changed it, so you have to have 1,000 issues to be able to do this. So it works for your first wave of printing, but then it doesn't work for your subs, and you have to send them out like priority, which is $9.
Wow.
You lose money. Like it's a one-way track to go in Busto.
Got it.
So I worked through it, found a shipping way that will work to get them all out in one shipping, and we're doing it.
Cool.
That's cool. Hey, thanks a lot for the phone call this morning. You have a great text, right?
Yeah,
Rick?
I thought so. Good way to get us rolling on the text. And again, if you want to send us a text, it's only available through the Let's Talk Hookup app. This one is from John in Rancho San Diego. Says, "Wow, what a super show. Can't believe you were able to assemble all these guests, and really excited to hear from Brandon and the team today. Brandon, I know it's hard to predict. In recent years, there's been a lot of, quote, hot methods for big bluefin. The knife jigs, the Eddie bombs, the Mad Max, the flyers, the kite, etc. What do you take, or what is your take, and what does your team think is going to be the ticket for this year around? Will it be something new or revised technique for something we've already done? Looking forward to hearing everybody's answers." Was John in Rancho San Diego.
I'll let the guys take that one because they do it more than I do these days.
Alex is the bluefin whisperer.
Come on. Yes, he is. Come on, Alex.
All right.
Nighttime bluefin trips, guys.
I'll get it started. SK Jake. We'll go with that. All right, Jake, what you got?
We don't even really fish them at night a whole bunch, so daytime stuff is going to be kind of our normal.
You guys are a
program.
daytime deal. Yeah.
I want to be home.
Can you get used to that, Alex?
No, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
Not be able to sleep at night.
Yeah. But you can still catch them on an SK jig.
Absolutely.
Daytime,
absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
The lethal weapon, SK jig. The
Yeah.
200. That's all you need.
200 SK.
That's all you need. That's all you ever need.
That's your program,
That's it.
huh?
Uh-huh.
What do you like about the SK jig?
Just the way it swims. You get bit on a fall and on a retrieve.
Uh-huh.
It's also one of the least expensive, ready to go, off the shelf.
That's right.
You can buy a good lure for a good price and not have to put an extra $20 worth of hardware on
Exactly. The stock score just fine.
Yeah. All right. So you have stock in Daiwa?
I wish. That'll be next.
Yeah, for sure. All right, it's a good question. Let's jump back on the phones. You want to get through? This is your chance. This first hour, 833-288-0973. Jeff at the Fan is standing by for your phone call.
John in San Diego's up next on Let's Talk Hookup. Good morning, John.
Good morning, guys. I was going to ask you a question about the Bight Journal, which you've already answered. So my next question would be, is there anything, one tip or two that you might be able to offer us for fishing the Coronados to become more successful down there?
Ooh, that's a good one.
As an angler or as a boat operator?
Well, as an angler.
Sure. I feel like that fishery last year got back to its roots in terms of anchor fishing, throwing bait, all that other stuff. And so my thing with fishing and this theory of fishing that I had when I wrote that first book was that the little things make a big difference. And when you're on a sport boat, you're competing against the other anglers and not in this big ego thing of catching more or anything. The person who does the small things better is going to get bit better. So what's the number one thing? Casting. The ability to get an extra 10, 20 feet out of your cast for sure. And there's a time to upgrade your tackle. Like they're biting, let's fish 40 pound, 50 pound. And then there's times where you do the math and you're like, oh, it's scratch fishing. Let's drop down to 25 and move down 2 hook sizes, But I think really the crux of everything for fishing is the ability to cast. The ability to cast and to not get go on tilt or have buck fever when they start biting and then getting backlashes and freaking out in the kind of downward spiral, right?
Yeah.
The mental game of fishing. Just like life.
Not that Jake and Brandon haven't done equal amounts, but Alex, you've been, on the sport boat so long where live bait is just so and have seen literally millions of pieces of bait pass under your feet under the bait tank. That's always one thing that I think is, a guy getting the right bait and putting the hook in it the right way and getting into the water. Anything you could add to like live bait fishing that would be one of the little things that Brandon's talked about that sometimes gets overlooked?
And definitely the bait selections would be probably my number one. I think when it comes to the little things, at least in my opinion. Yeah, one can cast, right? But a bait selection comes down to everything. You can butt hook the right bait, right? You can just literally drop it out off the side of the boat. You get the same bites as guys that are casting 30, 40 feet if you pick the right bait, right? And that kind of thing. So yeah, so for sure, castings it comes down to play for sure, but bait selection comes down to everything. Ask your crew members. That's what I would suggest. What's best, right? In terms of how to select the bait, how to choose a bait. They're more than happy to help you out there.
Brandon, you mentioned the other factor as an angler or as a boat driver. What about the boat driver at the Coronado Islands?
Slowing down and doing the math and letting the conditions guide you. It's an over put thing, but like what's the current doing? Everything hinges on current. Like it's so important with all fisheries, and most of your Coronado spots are downhill. So setting up on the spot, leading the spot, you know what I mean? You don't want the stone right under you. Maybe if you're fishing whitefish and it's slack current, you do, but how to set up above the spot where your lines are going to end up and such. But yeah, leading the spot and fishing spots based on conditions, that's why North Island, Pukey, the classic thing, it bites in the afternoon. Maybe it's not that it's an afternoon spot. It's that you get downhill in the afternoon, right? Current.
What about the sea lion factor, Jake? How does that play into it there?
Yeah, Jake.
How do you change your game? How do you change
pull
your
really
game?
hard.
Yeah, pull really hard.
Just have some bonita in the bucket standing by,
key,
sacrifice, and when you hook a yellowtail, just start hooking those things over the side.
Yeah, that's key. If you hook a good one, right? Yeah,
it is such a frustrating challenge, though. Like you talk about all those things, you do all the things, and you do the math, and you spend the time, and then when they get on you so bad, it can just be such a frustrating thing to deal with. Like you put all this effort out, and you're supposed to be getting rewarded, and then, sometimes it's a gauntlet that you can't get through.
Once you got them on you can it's so hard to shake them. You might as well just run down the island a little bit somewhere, kick it up and go go somewhere else. It seems like one boat is always the one they kind of key in on, and then you're stuck with them.
What is that?
I don't know.
Probably catching them.
Yeah.
I heard Brandon say that they don't attract to cat holes, so that's why. I've heard that. Yeah, they stay
actually
away
just
from
porpoise right through the middle.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and then they just go on to the next one.
I've got a great text here. If you want to get through, 833-288-0973 phone lines are open. Thanks for that call too. Brad in San Diego writes, "Hey, what's happening, guys? As far as a charter, what's a good number of fishermen for a full day trip? Does it depend on what kind of fishing, i.e. swordfish trip, sea bass, yellowtail, bluefin, etc.?" That's a good question from Brad.
I feel like people always find out what the maximum is and then get the max because it makes it cheaper per person, right? But I think shaving a guy or two off is really comfortable. Like 4 people on the Freeman is a dream.
Okay.
Dream.
So what's the max?
6.
6.
5 for offshore. For bluefin, we keep it to 5. For island fishing, when you can spread out, we can put 6 on there. We like 5. 5's good. The Mexicat, I built that Mexicat for my regulars, which the bulk of the people that I take is 1 or 2 people because they have the resources to do it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that a couple, 2, 3 people on the Mexicat and 4 on the Freeman is kind of perfect. But you can take more and split it up. For open parties, the goal of open party is to introduce new people to the operation, get people out who couldn't put a charter together themselves, and try to keep the cost and the price down.
And are you going to do open party trips?
Yeah, we released a raft of dates at the show, and I made them from March to November. Wow. Lobsters, everything in between.
Lobsters, sea bass, swordfish.
Yep.
Bluefin.
Yep.
And how do you find that schedule?
You could go to our Instagram page. That would be good. And I don't have it on our website. I have a new guy who handles web and social and videos and all that other stuff, but I didn't have him. That's on me. I didn't have him put those dates up there, but I'll have him put it on the website end of day today.
Are you going to be running out of Fisherman's Landing this year?
Yeah.
So they'll have open party trips up on their website.
Yeah. What we usually do is the days we're not chartered, we'll go up online, and you can book online through Fisherman. Same thing up at Cisco's. The days we're not chartered and the days that our friend Sean on the Gray Light isn't open party, we run open party up there.
Oh,
that's a cool way to do it.
Yeah.
Let's go. Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup coming your way. We got more of your phone calls, more info. Again, if you want to get through, 833-288-0973. You're listening to Let's Talk Hookup, Southern California sport fishing voice on that Let's Talk Hookup app, YouTube and Facebook Live, and 97.3 The Fan.
Hi, this is Captain Ray Lopez, owner-operator of the American Angler. I've spent more than half my life aboard the American Angler along with my partners Brian and Lori, developing a team that's as good as it gets. I've been fortunate to spend time in the ocean with so many fine people that I look forward to fishing with. We can't thank you enough for being part of the American Angler family, and if you haven't joined us, we love the opportunity to meet you. Text or call Lori at 619-223-5414 or check AmericanAnglerSportfishing.com.
Sport fishing, not just for dad anymore, thanks to the Dana Wharf's Kids Club. Dana Wharf Sport Fishing invites all anglers 12 and under to join the Kids Club today. Membership includes over $100 of really cool stuff, like 2 free fishing trips, whale watch trip, as well as a free Dana Wharf Kids Club hat or t-shirt. Log on to the website, danawharf.com, or visit them in Dana Point Harbor, the bass capital of the West, and only minutes from the 5 freeway in Orange County.
This is Bob Hoots at Costa Sunglasses. Visual signs are a critical part of my fishing program, from bay bass to bluefin. I wear Costas to see what's out there. Costas are built with advanced polarization technology with our 580 lens, designed to cut through the sun's glare while providing enhanced color to see more fish. Costa was founded by a group of anglers wanting a high-performance lens for every fishing application. Costa has a West Coast style frame and lens for your adventures. CostaSunglasses.com.
I've had the opportunity to fish many places in many different types of water, but never have I fished a place as much fun as Katmai Lodge in Alaska. Hello, my name is Harold Davis, typically fishing in the ocean, but this is an experience that you have to try for yourself. Fish natural rivers with tens of thousands of fish coming up. And they have all the gear: spinning, bait casting, fly rods, kings, silvers, pinks, sockeyes, and my favorite, the chums. Outstanding food, outstanding accommodations, great service. The lodge is located in the beautiful Katmai National Park, filled with amazing wildlife. Brown bears, moose, eagles, otters, and it has spectacular scenery. And also the fact that the lodge is located right on the Alagnak River and your boat is just steps away from your room makes it great. Do yourself a favor. Call Charmel at 1-800-330-0326 or go online, katmai.com. And like Pete says, they will hook you up.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Having a great time here this morning. Again, been a very busy morning on the phones. If you want to get through, 833-288-0973 or keep those texts rolling in the Let's Talk Hookup app.
Yeah, you just heard Harold Davis talking about Katmai Lodge, and there's actually you and Dallas are going in July 16th through 23 to one of the greatest places in the world, Katmai Lodge on the Alagnak River in Alaska. And there's actually one boat left that can take 2 to 3 people. So if you want to go, check katmai.com, Katmai, or give Charmel a call in the office. It is a trip of a lifetime that you'll probably want to go back.
It doesn't need any more description. It is the coolest. Yeah. It's like the coolest outdoor experience I've ever been on. The fishing is fantastic. It's bar none, fantastic, incredible. But the amount of wildlife that exists there is just unreal. Yeah. Bears and moose and bald eagles everywhere, and the scenery that you're in, and the fish that come up that river are measured by the millions. Yeah. It's unreal.
And this year's a pink year, so there's even more millions coming through.
It's crazy.
And more trout to follow the pinks too. So
when I went up the first time, I'm going to try and catch a fish on a fly rod, but I'm a conventional fishing tackle guy. That's what I'm going to do. The most of the time. We fly fish the whole time. It's just cool. It's part of the deal up there, and their gear that they provide is just second to none. It's all Loomis and Shimano on the conventional and spinning gear, and the fly tackle's incredible, and the waders they provide, everything. It's such
you don't have to bring anything but layers.
It's awesome,
man. It is. So if you want to
please come.
Katmai, KATMAI.com. The dates are July 16th through 23.
There is no question that that boat will be gone. It's not like hey, we want to try to fill this last spot. It's like, man, it's a rad opportunity that somebody is going to get. Make that somebody be you. Like, it's a really, really cool
There's not a better time to go to Katmai.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So go do it for sure. Hey, let's jump back on the phones, Rick.
You got it, man. This time we're going to talk to Alex. He's calling us from San Carlos this morning. Good morning, Alex. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, good morning, guys. I just had a question on white sea bass. well, what is the preferred method, and also is there a specific type of combo that you like all set up for that?
As far as preferred method, it kind of just changes all the time. This time of year is mostly just leadhead and squid and slider and squid fishing, like that style. Anchor up next to the kelp, slide back a squid. Kind of your go-to setup for that is like a 30 or 40 pound rod with like some sort of like Trinidad 16 style reel filled to the top with spectra, like 50 or 65 pound spectra.
Oh,
okay. Does squid need to be present for that to work? Meaning, like, does there have to be squid spawning or squid available in relative, proximity to the area that you're fishing, or can you just fully import something where there's not a live squid for a ways and that still be just as effective?
Yeah, this time of year, there's not really much squid at all. Most of the time you get that big influx of squid in like January, and we'll kind of try and take advantage of that and like fill the freezers for the year basically. And we catch most of our fish on frozen that we caught months before, and we just import it to whenever we need it. Basically, just pull it out of the freezer and use it then. There doesn't have to be squid anywhere near it. In fact, like the whole beginning of my Channel Island season last year, there was 0 squid anywhere, and we caught them all in fin bait and plastics for 2 months before we even saw squid.
Plastics. Explain that.
Any type of like a normal like a normal paddle tail swim bait, or like a fluke or a slug type plastic like that.
Does it have to be white?
Does not have to be white.
Does not.
No. Smelt color. I've caught them on pinks, purples. It's just more of just kind of getting something in their face.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. And they chase it.
Yeah.
They
A couple of years ago, April is when you catch the biggest sea bass. Like when we used to catch the big local fish, it was usually starting in April. But 2 years ago or 3 years ago at Santa Cruz, when April was all those monsters?
That was 2 and 3 years ago.
Yeah. You're sight fishing for 50 and 60 pounders, the same grade of fish we would catch along the coast.
In 5 and 6 feet of water.
Yeah.
That's really
all on artificials.
And they're all up there spawning. Is that what the idea is?
They're thinking about it.
They're thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they get stupid, right?
They get smart and stupid. I feel like when they're my takeaway with sea bass, when they're spawning, they can be super focused on that and not bite, and then drop their guard and just bite nails. But sometimes they're so focused on what's going on that it's hard to get them to bite.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
There's a whole fishery up there that a lot of Southern California anglers haven't even seen or tapped into, because you got to drive the 101. Oh my God.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh God. The freeway.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that listen to us or live right there.
That's why we keep a boat up there. Bakersfield is its own subset of anglers and people, and they don't want to come to San Diego, and San Diegans don't want to go to LA.
Yeah.
Funny. All right. Well, we had another great text come through. It says, Bight fishing is so well known in San Diego for their expertise and top-notch vessels. Could you describe what a typical day on the water is like from the start? And also, with all these rumors about having a potential anchovy year, how do you think that might affect our fishing? That's from DJ in San Diego.
Well,
Jake, what's your average day?
Very long.
Very long.
Dark to dark. It depends on the year. Our sea bass, we kind of this time of year we'll leave early and fish the day, but most of the time, most of our trips we leave open ended for our departure time up until like 24 hours before the trip. Because there's a lot of times you get just a small window of when those things are going to bite. It could be a tide or a time of day or something. So if sea bass are biting where we notice a pattern where it's like, oh, you have to be here in the afternoon or whatever, we'll just switch our departure time so we can be there for that time basically. But all our trips are scheduled as a 12-hour trip. So we just orient it, and around that bite window.
The first time that Jake made me shed a single tear was the first year up at Oxnard. He's like, I think if we start leaving in the afternoon and fishing the afternoons, we'll start getting them. And he went on the best run of any of us. He had limits like 18 trips or whatever it was, a bunch of trips in a row, leaving in the afternoon and fishing the afternoon bite window. And it was the same when I first started. I left at 6 p.m. Remember, you had to fish at night to catch a sea bass then. I'd leave at 6 p.m.
I always thought that was a good move too. We'd see it with you guys bluefin fishing at the store. Like things would calm down and all the long range boats would leave, and then all the 3-day trips would leave. And then all of a sudden, 10 o'clock when things are settled, 4 more guys would show up and you'd be worried that they missed their long range. You're like, oh no, they're going fishing with Jake. But it was because the bluefin were biting in the afternoons, and you know, it was a way of maximizing the amount of time when you were supposed to be there, rather than spending all day and kind of pulling your hair out and then having to drive away as things were getting going. Like, sleep in, relax. We're going to have a long day. And it was like success after success after success. And it was just timed right.
And a lot of times we'll have boats scattered, you know, so a lot of times when that was happening, I'd be on like day 2 or day 3 of a 2-day or a 3-day in Avalon. So one of us would already be out for a couple hours. So you've got a lay of the land, and whoever whips in later. And then back then we were doing a lot more of that nighttime jigging stuff after dark as well, which could return.
That's cool. Well, let's try and jump back in the phones, Rick.
How about Aaron from Santa Barbara up next on Let's Talk Hookup? Aaron, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, guys. Rick, Corey. Really enjoying going back through a lot of the archive shows and listening to them at like 1.4, 1.6 speed, skipping through the commercials. A lot of nuggets in these old shows. You know, on that note, I was going through one the other day with Brandon, and a guy was talking about trolling through bait schools for sea bass, and Brandon knew what he was talking about, but I didn't really understand what bait or technique they were actually doing. If you remember, Brandon, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I don't think it was trolling. The thing about sea bass is, of all of our fishes, that fish has the most gears, believe it or not. But it's pigeonholed as it's a dropper loop catfish that's stupid, right? That's not it at all. It's because whatever. It's a whole nother tangent. But they take on the personality of a salmon sometimes. And when they take on this open water personality, they'll march up the coast. And if they don't see squid, they'll get on fin bait balls, and you can mooch them like salmon with a crocodile and a mackerel, or a swim bait through the bait ball, or a fluke, or whatever. And this has happened from the Tijuana Flats all the way up to Arco Oil Island in Santa Barbara. Sometimes the first fish of the year are in May, and they wash in around Ventura, and they're on bait balls of anchovies or sardines. I would bet all the money in the cage that this happens this year as well, with the setup of more anchovies and all that other stuff. And when that happens, you fish them in open water bait balls, either looking for showering bait and birds on the surface like they do in San Quintin, or meandering around and finding bait balls. I've caught
throw those various things into them.
Yeah, I use a bobber, a mackerel, and a crocodile. That was my sauce that I kind of came up with to solve for why a while ago. So I set
the mackerel is pinned to the crocodile?
Yeah, I set my bobber with like the video I made for your website a while.
It's on our YouTube channel, the Brandon Bobber.
The Brandon Bobber. So if the bait's down 50 feet, I set my little bobber at 50 feet, and I just keep my bait exactly in that zone 100% of the time, instead of having to make it fall through and everything. But yeah, open water bait balls play big time. And that could be below the border here. It could be along Camp Pendleton. It could be around Oxnard. I've never caught one trolling. But
what if there's no squid and it's only anchovies?
Bring
Is
it.
that going to be the play?
Bring it.
Yeah,
That
ready
2015 on. That's how it was, and that's when I caught the bulk of my huge ones. That's fishing mackerel adjacent to kelp.
Do you have to do anything different to the crocodile when you're fishing it that way? You just buy it, rip it out of the package?
Good question. I crimp a big single Siwash hook on there of some sort.
How big of a crocodile?
What's the one that's like that, Rick? Like 1 ounce or something like that? Yeah.
Hamburguesa, Rick.
Hamburguesa, the floating hamburguesa. Yep.
I thought that was secret. We just let the secret out.
Are there any secrets left?
No.
You know, we might as well share them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way to catch them too. That's a good way to catch them here.
Oh, can you imagine getting up? The bite's got
It's
to be
fun,
ferocious,
man.
right?
And they're impaled when you hook
Jake's
them.
kind of going, "What are you doing?" For sure. Hey, a great question here from Matt in Apple Valley, and it's about bluefin. Morning, guys. Brandon, with the advent of artificial flyers, do you and your crew lean toward frozen flyers or artificials?
Question.
We use both. The artificial's good because it lets you go faster. It's a tool. All these things are tools in your tool bag, right?
Right.
The artificial one lets you move faster and kind of locate. And if it's big foaming frothed up spots, you can drop it in it. They can knock it around and not rip the bait. If it's big, long out, drawn out drifts, use the natural one. What do you guys think?
Definitely. It's just whatever application. And there's through a single day, I'll go through different types. You go through a yummy, you go through a California flyer, a dead bait. It all just depends on the situation, basically.
And they eat them all.
They eat it all.
Yeah. Hey, I guess Marcos is there's nothing to report. So we had a little bit of weather.
This week. Yeah, probably not the busiest week at C4.
The report that report is sponsored by Dana Landing on Mission Bay, your one-stop shop for everything you need to go fishing. Complete deli, beverages, boating supplies, as well as one of San Diego's most complete saltwater tackle shops. Also, check out East County Bait and Tackle and Lemon Grove Bait and Tackle with the best in both fresh and saltwater tackle, along with live bait. Dana Landing next to the launch ramp in Mission Bay, ECBT at the end of the 67 freeway in Lakeside, and Lemon Grove Bait and Tackle at Broadway and Lemon Grove. Check DanaLanding.com.
Well, and speaking of Seaforth, we'll get a good check tomorrow when we have Captain Aliar, the Player Supreme, on. We got another great hour coming your way on the stream. You're listening to Let's Talk Hookup, Southern California Sport Fishing Voice on Facebook, YouTube Live, and we're checking off from 97.3 The Fan.
And tune into the Let's Talk Hookup app and the YouTube and Facebook Live right now.
45 years. That's how long we've been right here at Mission Bay, helping friends and family like you discover the joy of sailing, kayaking, and everything life on the water.
Yes, I like that.
I'm Logan from Fast Lane Kayaks, and if you ask Ron and Debbie Lane whether 45 years feels like a long time, they'll tell you time flies when you're having fun. You see, the Lanes have followed their passion for a life on the water, and they've made a living inviting others along for the ride. Over the years, the shop has grown and changed, and so have the employees and products inside. From selling living in a storefront lots to being the destination for a store. Working with maybe you're looking for a new way to stay active, enjoy nature, explore, and catch a spotted bay bass. Whatever your goals, come visit us in Dana Landing on Mission Bay, and we'll get you geared up and ready to enjoy life on the water.
Turner's Outdoorsman, Southern California's #1 shooting, hunting, and fishing tackle retailer since 1971, is right in your neighborhood. Now with stores throughout Southern, Central, and Northern California. No one does it better. Turner's Outdoorsman brings you the best prices and selection, plus a knowledgeable staff that will help make your day on the water or in the field more fun. Stop by your neighborhood Turner's Outdoorsman. To find a location nearest you, check the web at turners.com and sign up for special deals and more.
The lighter the bite and the cleaner the water means one thing: need a thinner leader, more natural presentations. That's where Seaguar Gold Label leader material shines. It's Seaguar's thinnest leader material yet. That means it's even less visible underwater and creates more natural presentations for better catch rates on leader-shy fish. With exceptional knot and tinsel strength, this advanced leader material is now available from 2-pound test for fishing trout in the Sierra to 80-pound test for big yellowfin in Guadalupe. Get Seaguar Gold Label at your favorite tackle dealer or learn more at seaguar.com.
Everyone has their go-to fishing spot. My spot is Kingfisher Charters in Sitka, Alaska. Rock Cod Rick here to say if you're looking for the ultimate Alaska experience and the best value in Alaska, it's Kingfisher Charters. Owner Seth Bone and his crew consistently deliver deluxe accommodations, the finest food, world-class fish processing, and top-of-the-line fishing experience. We've literally sent hundreds of our listeners to Kingfisher, and they all can't wait to go back. Most Alaska resorts make big promises, and they don't deliver, or they'll nickel and dime you to drive up the cost, but not Kingfisher. Everything is included. Your license, fish processing, super deluxe accommodations, amazing food, airport transfers, your gear. Literally all you need to bring is your layer clothing, and Kingfisher covers the rest. They also have the finest boats and charter captains in Sitka, all for the ultimate value. Take it from me. Book your trip to Kingfisher Charters and you'll thank me. Kingfisher Charters. 800-727-6136 or check kingfishercharters.com.
Long-range fishing, nothing beats Shimano. Hi, this is Doug Kern from Fisherman's Landing Tackle, the saltwater tackle professionals. Come check out the Shimano Talica, the pinnacle of lever drag 2-speed reels. The Talica features Shimano's Hagani body when throwing jigs. The Shimano Trinidad is your top choice. With the extreme cranking power and Shimano's Super Free Spool provides extreme castability. You'll be able to put your jig in the Wahoo zone. For all your Shimano needs, visit us at Fisherman's Landing Tackle at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego. The name that stands out among anglers is Fisherman's Landing, your top choice in local and long-range fishing. We offer the finest open party trips from 1 to 3 days, the best charter boats available, and of course, our world-renowned long-range fleet. Fisherman's Landing offers half-day trips on the Dolphin and full-day trips on the Liberty. Many trips can be easily booked online at fishermanslanding.com. I'll see you at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego.
Now it's time for more of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's talk hookup. Get ready for more of the best fishing information and the hottest tips on improving your angling skills. Let's Talk Hookup is sponsored in part by Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup. Shimano Rods and Reels. Fish with the best. Shimano. And now, Southern California's sports fishing voice, the hosts of Let's Talk Hookup, Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Maxa, and Corey Sandin.
Welcome back. Hour number 2, Let's Talk Hookup, right here on the Let's Talk Hookup app and YouTube and Facebook Live. Pete Gray here, along with Rock Cod Rick Maxa in the world headquarters of Let's Talk Hookup, right next to the almost sunny San Diego, right? San Diego Landings in Point Loma. We have the entire crew. Well, not the entire crew. There's a bigger crew than this.
Where's Henry?
Brandon, Jake, and Alex from Bight Sportfishing. We're missing Henry, but boy, what a great show! And if you're missing this, man, this is the one to keep.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Really stoked to have all the boys in the studio this morning, and so much great info, and just having a great time this morning. If you want to join us on the second hour on the stream, give us a text, man. We'd love to be reading your text questions. Lots of great show of Let's Talk Hookup still ahead of you. The only way to send in a text to the show is through the Let's Talk Hookup app. We said it before. It's a free download. It's the easiest way to listen to Let's Talk Hookup. You can hear all the archive shows. Send in your text. Make sure you include a name and a phone number because we're giving away a full-day trip on board the San Diego to one lucky caller or texter at the end of the show today, and that might just be you.
Yeah, for sure. So again, texts only this hour on Saturday. Of course, reminder, 8 to 9 on Saturday. We are on the Let's Talk Hookup app and YouTube and Facebook Live only. And then tomorrow morning, 7 to 9 a.m., we'll be on all 3 platforms, 97.3 The Fan, YouTube, Facebook Live, as well as our Let's Talk Hookup app, which is majority of the listeners are on YouTube, Facebook Live, and Let's Talk Hookup app. Let's just face it, that's the way of the world these days. Right?
I did not see that coming. I didn't think that would be a thing. And you know,
we grew up with. I mean, this has been 33 years on this, and there was no app. There was no YouTube, Facebook Live 33 years ago. It was radio.
Yeah, having fun, getting to see. You know, that was so much fun about the PCS shows. You get to see everybody, and you get to BS with guys that you don't normally get to see every day. And the amount of people who came by the Fisherman's Landing tackle booth and we're talking about the show and love hearing Brandon and all those kinds of things. The amount of people who watch it live blew me away. Yeah. I just assumed it was more of a, hey, I listen on the radio, whatever. Like it was just person after person. Hey, I love that part of it. Really stoked. And yeah, that blew me away. It's really cool.
Yeah, it is cool. So thanks. Yeah, everybody that came by the Let's Talk Hookup booth or Fisherman's Landing booth, or of course the Bight Sportfishing booth. You guys had a deluxe
Your booth looked really nice too, man. You guys did a really good job.
I was happy with that operation. Yeah, they did a great job.
Kudos to Bill and Mike and the crew at PCS for doing a phenomenal job of that show. I mean, it was state of the art.
The PCS show is like the Jake of fishing shows. I've never heard someone complain. Right? No one's ever. No, it's still people love it. It's good vibes.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
How they pulled it off. Like I was super worried about day one. Thursday it was raining. It was cold. It was like, oh man, this is gonna.
Man, I felt
this is gonna be tough.
For Nick at the West Coast Marine on that day, man, that afternoon, that evening.
Dude, it was
still sold boats.
It was still killer. Yeah. Like the vibe was great. The people were great. It was fun. Everything. It was just awesome.
It was packed on
Thursday.
Thursday.
Crushed it. Yeah. They crushed it. It was such a good show. Smooth, well run. Awesome. We loved it.
To see.
Yeah, we loved it.
Yeah, it was really good.
Excited they're going to bring it to San Diego next year.
Yeah, next year, mid-March.
Yeah.
They announced the dates. First up in Costa Mesa and then Del Mar.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Spilled the beans on Let's Talk Hookup.
That's right.
As it
Before
should be.
It was officially announced. It was
pretty
pre-announced on Let's Talk Hookup.
Yeah, pretty darn cool.
Well, let's find out what's biting.
You got it, bro. It is time for that catch report. Today at fishdope.com report is sponsored by Gamakatsu. If you like to fish for tuna and you're not using Gamakatsu hooks, you are leaving bites on the table. The Nautilus Circle hook comes in sizes as small as a number 4 and up to a 6-0. And for big fish, the Nautilus HD is tough enough, but not with an oversized wire. Because both come with rings or non-rings. You can see your local dealer or check gamakatsu.com for more information. We've got the man, the private boater buddy, Captain Mark Wish of Pacific Edge is on the line. Good morning, Mark.
Well, good morning, Rick and Pete, Brandon, Jake, Alex, man, the all-star crew for sure in there. That's awesome.
Hey, Mark.
Now you did it. Nice job. Yeah. We've got new buttons now that we never had before.
Emoji buttons.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fun. Okay, so this today is a milestone report. After doing this for, what is it, Pete?
33 plus years. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, oh my God. Anyway, so what I usually do is all week long, from the time we finish the report Saturday, start gathering information. I make notes and then summarize those notes on one page of legal pad and use those notes as an outline for the report that I do. And virtually always, I got more than enough to fill the page. I got to sift through. And today, you know, between the weather and the fishing and the water that's rolled, I mean, it just sucks offshore. So we're going freestyle. We got nothing.
Yeah, it's just,
you know, what is biting? It's the same whitefish, bass, sculpin on the structure spots, a few halibut, you know, here and there. I think a couple days, some of the sport boats had a few nice ones, but just, God, very little. Catalina has just been harsh. The outer islands have been untouched because of the weather. So, you know, it just is what it is. And we call it like we see it. But it is mid-March. And some years that sea bass fishing over at Catalina gets good, used to be good. I think it seems like the whole thing is shifting a little later. We just don't seem to have that winter fishing like we used to. But, you know, we're always bummed at this time of year because, you know, there's normally a 3 fish limit. And today's the day, I think today's the day that it goes to 1. And we were always brokenhearted because we were catching all these nice big ones and had to go down to 1. And definitely not been an issue this year. But at some point, this weather will straighten out. The wind will back off. The water will get unrolled and get straightened out, and maybe we'll catch some fish again. I think
I like that
probably gonna
idea.
See that in a couple. Yeah, it's gonna
Yeah.
sooner or later.
Well, this week doesn't look so bad.
No, we got a little weather coming first of the week, and then after that, it looks like it's gonna start straightening out. But you know, it's going to take a little time. And so we're just going to have to see. I would imagine that over at the island, you know, I love that shallow water beach fishing. And I imagine that might be a little behind schedule this year. Probably see some deep water fish as soon as we can get out there and fish them. And we'll just have to see what happens. And in terms of other exotics, you know, halibut around all the time. And in terms of yellowtail, you know, last year wasn't our best yellowtail year up here. You guys had that good fishing at the Coronados. We kind of struggled a little up here, comparatively speaking. But, you know, at some point it's going to straighten out. And at some point I'm going to have that problem having way the hell too much to talk about. And, you know, not enough time to talk about
We're
it.
anxious for those days,
Not
for
today.
sure.
I'm
Yeah,
still just
you
trying to
and
wrap.
me both.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that Mark's been doing this report longer than Jake's been alive.
Wow. and Alex probably too, right?
Almost.
Yeah, almost. Yeah. Well, as you can hear, fishdope.com is your stuff that you need. $30 off a new membership to fishdope.com using the code Hookup Now, lowercase, no space. Hookup Now, your $30 code. And Mark, how do we find you?
We're in Huntington Beach. We're on the corner of Bolsa Chica and Edinger. Phone number at the store is 714-840-4262. The website pacificedgetackle.com. And I'll make up something for next week, even if we don't have any.
Oh, it's going to bite. There's something's going to bite this week. You think, Jake?
We'll get something.
Yeah,
We'll get something this
something's
week.
going to bite. All right. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate that. We'll talk to you next Saturday.
All right, that's going to wrap
You got
up.
it. We'll see you guys.
Thanks, Mark. That's going to wrap up the Catch Report again. Sponsored by the Fish Pros at Fisherman's Processing in San Diego, where you get the premier processing experience. Check out the easier online system to book your processing for your long-range trips. With more team members, Fisherman's Processing stays far ahead of the rest. More same-day capacity and the finest customer service. Stop by their location in Old Town on Taylor Street or check fishermansprocessing.com. Be sure to make your reservations today. I got to put a little Fisherman's Processing thing, and they are so crazy accommodating. We had a very special order of one of our boats that is in the one of our customers that has several boats kind of around the world. And right now they have one of their boats in the Canary Islands. And like, this is the start of the big eye and bluefin fishery for that, that part of the world. And they're from here and took some flying fish on their first trip down there and fished them the same way that we do. And nobody fishes a rigged flying fish from the kite. They had a few in their freezer. And the first few that they put out, they caught a bunch of big yellowfins. They anchored on a spot that nobody anchors. Long story short, they said, hey, this was a thing. We need more of them. We had to fly 100 flying fish to the East Coast to get put on a container ship to get shipped to the Canary Islands for their next trip. I had no clue how on earth we were going to pull this off. I called Marilee and just without even a teeny bit, like, oh yeah, bring them down. We'll take care of it. We took all the flying fish, they prepped them, they froze them, boxed, shipped, FedEx, next day air. They're already on. In 2 days, they went from the freezer at the tackle store to on a container ship on the way to the Canary Islands. And Fisherman's Processing handled everything.
Wow.
And like, they're so smooth.
Yeah,
like
nothing, if you don't live here and you want to have your fish shipped, they got it down.
Dude, nothing phases them at all. Like, just, oh yeah, got it. And like the efficiency at which they work too. Like, I dropped it off and hours later, like, here's a picture, here's the dimensions of your box, here's the tracking number, it'll be here this day. Like, there was a lot of moving parts, just nothing. They are so killer.
Can you
it was a great
imagine
experience.
being in a new area like that and throwing a new thing out there and it's like, oh, this works.
We need to have I'll just say it. It's for Grossbeck, and we need to have him on the show to talk about it. So like this particular the trip previous, they were fishing some area, outside of Portugal on, one of the islands out there. And there's a deep water spot that people only troll over every so often, but it's anchor a bull and the conditions were right. They put the anchor down and the first flyer that they sent back got eaten on the way out. It was a 275 yellowfin.
Oh.
They continued to catch one on every bait until passengers were done and waved the white flag. And then they just hung out and watched them jumping around. It sounded and like the fishing was okay for trolling a vinyl marlin lure around, and the big fish would bite it every so often. But every single flyer they put back got smoked. Wow. And then they left and trolled home and got a 500-pound blue marlin. Like, just some spectacular mission that we'll have to get the full debrief on next one of these days on Let's Talk Hook. Yes, so rad.
Speaking of processing fish, and I know you're really obsessed when you have dreams about fishing and catching stuff. Someday I dream of catching a swordfish, right? Hasn't happened on my boat yet, and it hasn't happened. But I thought, okay, you get this thing on the boat, then what do you do with it, right? So Jake, what do you do with it? You take it to Fisherman's Processing. How do you get that fish aboard and then make sure that it's going to be a good quality piece of meat once you get it aboard?
Well, quality is always our number one. Like with tunas and everything else, I'm super anal with like proper like on deck care to make sure the meat quality turns out really good. Swordfish is kind of like one of the most resilient meats out there. It's like the anti-fish. You don't even need ice or anything really.
Come on.
Yeah, because they're so cold. The water depth that they live in, it's so cold down there. Like, even if you go to gill and gut it or something, you stick your hand inside that body cavity and it's freezing cold. So you don't even really need to do anything. You could just, if you're gonna sit there and fish the rest of the day, yeah, you want to cover it and do all that. But most of the time when we catch them, we're high-fiving and we're on our way in.
On the scale. So do you gill and gut it?
No, not with those things. I will when we get in. And what we do is it kind of like commercial style. You core it out, you cut the head, fins, and all the guts off, cut the tail off. The one thing that is different with those, you don't want to cut them the same day. It's not like a tuna where it's like, oh, you need this fresh right now. You kind of cut them like at least 24 hours later.
Yeah.
They're all a big giant muscle. They don't even have bones. It's just cartilage, no rib bones, nothing. So what you want to do is like let them sit on ice. What we do is we core them out, like I said, cut everything off, pack them with the ice,
head off.
Yeah, once we're back at the dock,
after you get the hero photos done.
Exactly. Yeah, I hate stringing that thing up. But you let it rest on ice, like in a kill bag, or what we do, we just leave it inside the coffin box on the Freeman. It's like a giant Yeti, basically. And you leave it there for at least 24 hours. I'll cut the fish for the people too, but I'll tell them like come back in 2 days if you want me to cut it. That or
real proper way.
Yeah, or send it to the processor and they know to let it rest.
Yeah,
those things can sit on ice for weeks.
Really,
weeks,
and still be good.
Yeah,
I've heard that the guys talk about you have to scrub the body cavity out. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, it's almost like a trout. You know, when you're little and you like push your finger on that bloodline inside a trout when you're gilling it. It's like that. It's the same thing, but just a way bigger version. You kind of scrape all that out of the inside.
Yeah.
My favorite is when I don't know why, but like it's really satisfying for me. You scrub the outside with a deck brush. It's kind of like it's almost like you're scrubbing off the mud.
Really?
Yeah, the film that they don't have scales, so they have like this like film on them, and it's kind of like it kind of looks like mud basically. But you scrub it with a deck brush, and then you get to hose it off, and it looks all clean.
And some of them are like chinchillas. They've been like down there rooting around, and they're covered in it. And then other ones are kind of cleaner, you know. But some of those like bottom feeding ones that you get with the messed up bills and everything, like legit mud bath.
I know that guys come in the store that, you know, that's their goal. Like Pete, you were talking about, like, hey, I really want to have a big swordfish on my own boat. My recommendation, and it is no blowing smoke because you guys are here, it's absolutely the case, is just book a trip with you guys, regardless of, hey, I've got my own boat and it is dialed in and all these things. I still think that like that's the most money well spent, is go with one of you guys and just see the operation and how you're putting baits down and how you're like a trip or two with Bight, whether you even catch or not, will shorten your learning curve so fast. It's the best money well spent if that's your goal.
Even after 6 years, there's not a San Diego operation that's caught more than you can count on one hand. Usually only one or two for clients. You know what I mean? Catching fish with your buds is a big difference than going out with customers and doing it, you know? So yeah, no, it's our thing for sure. And it's a legit master's class. You'll learn everything.
That's what I think. I mean, the value is in learning to do it way more.
I did
than
it with Brandon.
anything else.
And I learned so much. So maybe I'll catch one.
You'll catch one. It's just time, man. It's like everything. Just how bad do you want it, right? And if you're like, I want this, I'm going to go 10 times this year. You'll get it. You just have to go.
Yeah. It's like anything. You want a bluefin or sea bass or yellowtail, you just have to go.
Nothing comes easy in California.
You also have to go into it knowing that a bite is not going to convert into a fish a lot. You know what I mean? Like there's several steps that have to go down, and it's like wahoo fishing. Like, don't be discouraged. The first time something touches your lure, it often doesn't end in a fish on the boat. You know, you're going to have some losses and you're going to have heartaches, and you're going to have one that you got to color and then the hook fell out of it. And you had one that was halfway up and this squid got destroyed. We never even saw the float. Like all of those, but all of those things are what add to it being such a rad deal. When it is done, it is laying on the deck. It's part of the cool factor is how tough it is to finally make it happen.
For sure. Well, a guy on the line right now who seems to always go after the prey that he gets, he usually gets one. That's Conway Bowman. Good morning, Conway.
Hey guys, how you doing this morning?
You probably have one of the highest catch ratios of anybody on your fly fishing for mako sharks, right?
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, we're pretty successful, and we've been doing it, guide for over 30 years now. So, but you know, it's guiding, it's fishing, and every day is different. So I'm happy if we get one to the boat, throughout the day. But yeah, I've been really blessed. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're not here to talk today about catching mako sharks with Conway, but we're here to talk about Cast Hope, and you have a big event coming up at Lake Barrett. Believe it or not, what's that all about?
Yeah, we have our big Lake Barrett fundraiser on April 26th. We got a few spots left. So basically, it's our fundraiser, our first fundraiser of 2025, and it's Lake Barrett. It's going to be great. So people can find out about it if you go to casthope.org. All those proceeds for the fundraiser goes towards our Cast Hope San Diego kids to get them out, to get them fishing. And just to, expose them to the outdoors. And I always say, fishing is just the key that opens the door to greater opportunity for kids that aren't as fortunate as I was as a kid to go out and experience the outdoors. So, catching a fish might inspire them to be, I don't know, maybe a wildlife biologist, or hey, maybe even a fishing guide. So, but yeah, April 26th, Lake Barrett. We have a few boats left. There is also a kayak float tube division, and all the information is right there at casthope.org.
And Cast Hope, basically, you're raising money to get kids out on the water, right?
That's right. Yeah. So we have a program. It started out in Chico, California. We've been in San Diego for 6 years now. And we basically teach the kids not only the skills of fishing, fly fishing, as well as conventional fishing, but also we take the kids out. We teach them about biology. We teach them about, ocean ecology. We take them out on eco eco trips, doing shark observation, tide pool observation. We work with biologists, and we work with scientists, and also great fishermen. So yeah, it's a great organization. All those proceeds go to get those kids out, and those proceeds help support the program. So we take the kids fishing absolutely for free. We provide them all their tackle. And if they're in the program for 1 year, we give them everything they need to keep them on the water. So rods, reels, whatever they need. So it's a great
That's
program.
awesome.
So cool. So cool. And the opportunity to fish Lake Barrett before it opens, it's a week before they open to the public. What an opportunity.
How cool is
I
that?
mean, and you're going to catch a lot of fish at Lake Barrett. I've been told that fishing is very good this year out there. So the opportunity to do that, and this is the only opportunity you have to do that, and that not only fish an amazing lake with fantastic bass fishing, pretty much just by yourself out there. Not very many boats on the lake, right?
No. So we have 15 boats, and that's it, and then
That's it.
20 kayaks. So
Wow.
so that's it. And that is it. And we'll have some of our Cast Hope kids there, and they'll be fishing as well, but they'll be on the dock and just around that area. And it's going to be great. Last year we did it; it was unbelievable. Lights out fishing, and it was really a great event. So it gives people a great opportunity to fish. I believe the greatest bass reservoir in the Western United States.
Yep.
And also help out some great kids in a great program.
Cool. And how do we do that?
Go to casthope.org and go to the events page, and that'll drive you right to the Lake Barrett event.
And that's April 26th, you said?
April 26th. Yep, Saturday, April 26th.
Oh, it's on Saturday even.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Conway,
baby.
good for you for doing such great things with Cast Hope. Great organization, and jump on that Barrett thing. I thought it was sold out, but I guess there's a couple boats left.
We got a few boats left, and let's get them sold and keep these kids on the water and catching some fish.
All right.
Love it.
Thanks,
That's rad.
Conway. Great to hear from you. Good luck with it.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. All right.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, had a great text come through here, and it's good morning, guys. Brandon and team. First question is, what would you use to target white sea bass off the Orange County coast fishing kelp lines? Second is, I'm really excited to hear the last time you were on the show, you made the announcement about Jig Chucker's ball. Any progress on that, and will there be a film component again this year? That's from Jeff in Huntington Beach.
I feel like I'm hogging all the radio time. I talked to Booger last week. Chucker's ball's on.
That's
might
cool.
even do two of them.
Whoa.
We spitballed ideas about who the cast of characters are going to be, how we're going to create the soap opera, talked about days, all sorts of fun stuff.
Hey.
So the easy way to do it is we'll just put it up on the Seaforth website.
Awesome.
And the website can do the heavy lifting and bookings. So that's available. So, and if anyone doesn't know,
And you can buy a spot to go.
yeah, when we did it before, it was like an invite only for the magazine, and there was a lot of feedback like, I want to go fish. The cool thing about fishing is you can't go swing clubs with Tiger Woods. You can go fishing with Don Sansom and Danny Wade and
totally.
these characters.
Wow.
So we're going to do it on that tip. So maybe I could call the show when we have the date and let you know. Her Booger can do it.
Yeah.
So that's happening.
It's going to be in the spring.
It's going to be in the spring. When we did it in the past, it was May. It'll probably be midweek, late May is what we're talking about. So that's that part. Orange County kelp line sea bass. Pray for downhill current. You have to have current, otherwise you might as well go home. And something that allows you to present your bait into the kelp, whether it's a bobber or whatever. I've got a lot fly line mackerel. You don't have to have squid all the time. So yeah, I would fish it like that. I would set up and get your lines close to the kelp and hang on and pray. Seance. Yep.
That's cool. Hey, nice text here from Mike and Rosemead. He says, fish with Jake twice several years ago up in Ventura area, and he partnered up with Rich T. We're on a platform, a low-profile Ranger, which kicked ass, getting super close to the islands, and at one point, conditions were right. We took us inside the Painted Cave just to break up the day. What a professional. Thanks for the memory. He even decided to stop mid-channel to fish a wreck, and we slaughtered the sand bass. Catch and release. Kudos from Mike.
That's awesome.
That sounds like a fun day.
No doubt.
I thought it was going to be a complaint. Damn it.
No, there's no complaints when it comes
That guy
to
sucks,
Jake.
man.
Damn it. Are you kidding me? No complaints. That's cool. What a,
That
so
sounds
you
fun,
were
man.
you were before you were with Bight Sportfishing, or fishing for a Ranger?
I did on the side, yeah. While I was
Yeah.
on sport boats, there was a little bay boat up there I used to run.
And
That's
you run it
cool.
out to the Channel Islands?
Yeah.
What is the Painted Cave? I've heard of it, but tell us
Big
about that.
giant cave on the front side of Santa Cruz, way up towards the west end. It's
Yeah.
pretty far. You can only go up there when the weather's good.
Yeah.
But it's huge. I mean,
And you can drive line inside?
yeah, you can drive around, spin around in there. It's,
No
it's
kidding.
huge. Yeah, we've brought sport boats inside of it. It's giant. It's
Why
pretty
do-
cool.
Sport boats inside the
Mhm.
cave? Wow.
That's rad.
Yeah, way up inside and go look around. Like all the antennas are looking up towards the ceiling and stuff. It's pretty rad.
That's got to be insane. And why do they call it the Painted Cave? Is it paint? Are there
It's just
Indian
all
paintings inside?
No, I wish. Yeah, no. The Indians went in there and painted it.
Yeah.
No, it's just all the rocks and everything. It's just all different colors, blues and purples, and so it's pretty rad.
There's an amazing, and I forget what it's called, but an amazing documentary about the Channel Islands. And it's
West of
narrated by
West.
West of West,
Yeah,
narrated by
it's
Joe
good.
Walsh from the Eagles.
It's really
And
good.
It's really, really good. If you haven't seen West of West, have you seen that, Ricky?
I haven't.
It's phenomenal. Yeah, and you can get it on, I think, Amazon or Netflix or whatever.
Mhm.
But West
Amazon.
of what Amazon?
Let's
West
be
of
real. If you strip the islands out of Southern California, there's kind of no reason to live here. Like it's the
Yeah.
best thing going, man.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
you can escape the millions of people. And I hoop netted the bay last weekend, and I was kind of looking towards LAX, and I'm like, wow, I'm staring at 8 million people.
Right.
8 million people in this slice right here.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, the islands are incredible.
How was hooping?
Still. It was slow. Alex got 40. We caught 11.
No way.
Yeah.
Got 11.
Fish in Santa Monica Bay?
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
And you were out in the same night?
No, he got his conditions were better for Alex.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, we were next door to each other. Why?
Okay. Conditions for lobster. What makes a good lobster condition?
Why'd you get on
Alex,
that?
come
What
on.
was going on that night?
The swell,
Swell.
water clarity. Everything just lined up perfect.
So you want clear water?
Yeah, that's from what I found. I'm no expert or anything like that,
Yeah.
but and from what I found over the years of doing it, yeah, the clearer water versus that nasty, murky beach water.
Yeah.
I think it does make a difference for sure.
And Santa Monica Bay doesn't get commercially fished, so there's opportunity there, right?
It's a big playground.
Yeah. Big playground.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Tons of shorts.
Really?
Yeah, like just barely shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of lobster. Good biomass of lobster up there.
Yeah. Cool. And you guys fish it up there. Where do you keep the boat? In Marina Del Rey?
No, you come up from Long Beach. It's closer than
Okay.
Catalina.
Oh, is
And
it?
you get to run up the federal breakwall where it's always hot and glassy.
Ah.
Yeah. No, it's closer to Catalina going around the horn of Palos Verdes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep.
Hey, another fun text is Brandon, this was from Brandon in Long Beach. Question I have for all the boys. What do you guys feel is the possibility of albacore this season? And if not this, what will it take to have those things back in the SoCal bite?
I don't think Jake's seen one. Have you seen one? Have you
I
touched
saw
one?
one with Alex.
Oh,
on the range, out of all
we caught one
places.
together.
Only
What do you-
living one I've seen.
That's right. What do you think, Alex?
Albacore, the abundance of anchovy this year, and really the past couple of years, really offshore. It's promising. I'm not gonna sit here and predict that, but it's very promising. It's soon coming for sure in terms of the
Think so?
albies. Yeah, for sure. If not this year, then next.
So
Okay.
Steve Crook really burst my bubble at PCS. You know, Steve's got, he says, I'm sorry, Pete, the water charts are just not indicating to me that it's going to happen this year. Because I guess the years that we had albacore, the 62-degree water, the magic water, was way south, like almost down to Mag Bay and stuff like that. He says it's still up north. It's up off of Central California and stuff. He says for us to get albacore, we need to have that south of us at this point, and it's not right now.
Interesting.
That's from the scientist Steve. Now he says things happen, things can change. And
Right.
like you say, the biomass of anchovy. I mean, you would think, come on, where are you, albacore? Bring them
Come
in,
on
right?
in.
But I mean, will you be satisfied with a whole bunch of bluefin again?
I'll take that. That's
Yeah.
fine.
I just can't believe what our baseline to a fishery is in California these days.
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
40 to 70 pound bluefin. That's it. Huh? What?
that's all you got?
No
it's
triple
so
digit fish, huh?
shifted.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's so shifted.
Yeah, but we'll take that.
It's an amazing fishery, of
It is
course.
an amazing
It's-
fishery. I mean, you talk about, you know, I mean, guys, Florida has been amazing fishery. You know, Carolina's an amazing fishery, and stuff,
Right.
But nobody has what we have here. I mean, there's nothing.
From a charter perspective, I get a lot of interest from Americans outside of California and international anglers on bluefin. And what's the common theme? Something that's totally lost on us. You can keep 2 per day. We have the most liberal bluefin limit, I think, in the world.
Yeah.
Usually it's like 1 big one per boat or 1 per person or
season.
2. When it went to 2 for us, I was like, oh my God, only 2.
Yeah.
You don't need more than that. And yeah.
Especially if you get the big ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. You have a good one there?
I do. Let me bring it right back up. Question is, every time captains are on the show and we ask them their favorite type of fishing, everybody always seems to say the same thing: surface iron, yellowtail. My question is, why is that?
Boys,
it's all preference. I don't know. It's just because you can pull the hardest on those things. It's like a sport boat mentality. I feel like you just want to pull as hard as you can. That's like the one fish you can do it and you won't rip them off. I'm with you. So many people grew up, that's the traditional way to come up is fishing on sport boats. And that's on the half day trip, that's the pinnacle thing that you're hoping to achieve. And that's the coolest way to catch one and
catch a yellow.
Yeah.
It takes a little more steez to do it than the other guys on the boat.
It's part of the culture.
It's kind of the culture. Yeah.
We're taking off Thursday on a crew trip. Lobster season's over. Weather's poor. We're just going to hit pause and do a little audible and all hang out together. We could go anywhere. We've gone to Africa on crew trips before and all over the place. Where are we going?
You take the boat to Africa?
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's a long run.
We could go. My point is we could do anything.
Yeah.
And we're going to go to LA Bay because the weather's perfect and there's surface iron yellowtail biting.
Totally.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually when the weather's overcast and rainy here, it's flat calm down there, right?
It's dream weather late next week. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Rare, nice weather.
That sounds like a good one for sure. I have another good one here from Jason in Point Loma. He says, wow, what a good show. Good morning, everybody. I can't believe you got all these cool cats together and their knowledge. The question is for the boys, what is your favorite go-to rod and reel setup and your favorite fish to catch with it? What about you, Jake?
My favorite reel ever is a Trinidad 16. You just do anything with it. Trinidad 16.
16A?
Yeah. 16A, unless you want to be gangster and you have a gold one.
Yeah.
That and like a 30, 40 pound rod, like at 800M or something, some 6480, like any of these like classic glass blanks that you can kind of do it all with.
CalStar
or Seeker. I mean, that's what I've always fished. Just that's what I grew up fishing was the glass rods and can't break them. And it's all preference. I mean, we had Phoenixes forever and those are great too. A little bit lighter, but I mean, you can just never go wrong with that old school style. It's kind of timeless.
What about you, Alex?
I'll go back to that surface iron yellowtail thing. The Lua and the Newell 332 would be mine.
Wow.
That's a throwback.
I would take a Truline D8 because it was rated for 15 to 80 pound. I'd take it. It's 8 foot, so you can cast, do anything with it. And I'd put a Trinidad 20 on it.
And what are you going to catch with it?
Freaking everything.
Yeah.
Fly line at Chovy for albacore, a surface iron yellowtail, fish a bobber in the kelp for 70-pound sea bass. You could do anything with the D8.
Yeah.
That's cool. Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup coming your way, including more of your text and a whole lot more with the boys from the Bight. You stay tuned. It's Let's Talk Hookup, Southern California sport fishing voice on the Let's Talk Hookup app and Facebook and YouTube Live.
This year, make reliable boating your resolution and back it with exhilarating deals with a new Yamaha outboard during Yamaha's New Year, New Reliability sales event. From now until March 31st, 2025, purchase a new eligible Yamaha 450 to 30 horsepower outboard and get up to 7 years of coverage protection. Looking to hit the water with lower horsepower? There's a deal for you too. Purchase a new Yamaha 25 to 2.5 horsepower outboard and receive up to $200 in dealer credit toward the purchase of additional goods and services. Don't miss this limited time offer. Visit your local Yamaha dealer today. Yamaha, reliability starts here. Offer ends March 31st, 2025, subject to change. Other restrictions and conditions apply. Select models exclude 24-month Yamaha extended service added to a 36 or 60-month factory limited warranty. Choice offered to Florida residents is a 24-month Yamaha limited warranty. See authorized participating Yamaha outboard dealer for details. Cannot be used with any other Yamaha offer.
Captain Jamie Tennis from Season Sport Fishing here. For the past few seasons, a dart-styled metal jig has come into play in a big way for tuna offshore or even rockfish down deep. AFCO's crossbreed jig has quickly become the go-to for many since it came onto the market. AFCO's crossbreed jig is good to go right out of the package with a 4X treble hook, heavy-duty split rings, West Coast colors, and sizes 60 gram to 120 gram. Pick one up today at your local tackle store or learn more on afco.com.
All right, it's time to talk about great gear from Shimano. And man, with this past PCS show, you want to talk about a reel that was absolutely flying. It was that brand new redesigned Talica A series. I mean, from a reel that was perfect before they started, you always wonder how somebody could possibly make that better, and they just did.
And they did.
Yeah.
And the proof was in the pudding, because at the Shimano booth, they have the side-by-side, the 25.
Wasn't that a great display?
And I couldn't believe it. You turn the handle on the new one, it's even more powerful, which was super powerful than the old one.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
A lower low gear ratio, a different spool design. The frame is shrunk down a little so it fits in your hand better. Same line capacity, a different drag system. It was just they absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, 4 different sizes available now. Check it out at your local Shimano dealer.
A top fleet and superb fishing is what Seaforth Sport Fishing in Mission Bay is all about. With free parking and fully stocked tackle shop, it's no wonder Seaforth Sport Fishing is a favorite among anglers. Come aboard top boats like the Aztec, Cortez, Endeavor, Apollo, Outer Limit, Elgato Dos, Pride, Tribute Pacifica, Pacific Voyager, and the Voyager. Plus, the new Seaforth, Sea-Watch, and San Diego offer the finest half and full day trips available. Seaforth Sport Fishing. For charters or regular open party schedule, check seaforthlanding.com. Run by fishermen for fishermen in Mission Bay.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Having a great time here this morning. Been a very busy show, as you could guess, having Brandon and Jake and Alex in here having a great time this morning. If you want to text in a question to the show, there's still time. It's only available through the Let's Talk Hookup app. Keep them coming.
All right, for sure. Well, you have a great text, huh?
I thought so. It says, hey, guys, can you describe how to best use the fluke for white sea bass? What weight? How does the cast and retrieve work? Do you fish it on the bottom or on the surface, speed retrieve, etc.? Any advice would be helpful. I'm dying to go do that. That's from Ed and Ventura.
It's kind of the same. It's like a tool. It just depends on the situation. If they're up high, fish a lighter weight. If they're down deep, I'll sink it all the way out to, like, if we're fishing a mountain like 70 to 90 feet too, just fishing with like a 1 or all the way up to a 2 ounce head. If they're up shallow, like a half or even a 1/4 ounce, something the lightest you can get away with that you can still cast, and just hop it around. You just point your rod tip, kind of keep your rod tip high, and just hop it around. A lot of times they eat it right after you pop it, right on the paws.
All right.
That's cool.
Good stuff. Yeah. I got another good one here from Daniel in Santa Barbara. A lot of listeners there north of LA listening today. Thank you, guys. Good morning, gents. Good show. Brandon, are there other baits besides squid that will work to catch deep drop sorts?
Yes. Yeah. The belly strip is used a lot on the East Coast. The Gulf Stream and their current and their forage base is different, but any of those strip baits will work. A big tentacle off of a giant squid, kind of anything. They're real foragers. And in areas where they have a lot more swords than us, like Tasmania and such, they're using big, giant, rotting chunks and whole dead baits and stuff. The science is like the bait presentation, or moreover finding the water that they're in, and not just driving to your nearest bank. So yeah, you can catch them on a wide variety of baits. Eels, they catch them on iguana tails and things like that in Florida. Like, they'll eat anything, man.
That being said,
yeah,
what do you use, Jake?
Squids are go-to, but we've caught them on tentacles and other stuff too. Yeah. They're not picky at all. Like Brandon said, they're not picky. It's more just a matter of finding the right water and getting something in front of them, whether that's a squid or a strip bait or anything. Just getting something in front of them, they're going to eat it.
Any particular size of squid? That's good.
They all get bit. We've experimented. We've gone through the ringer of all of it. I like the smaller ones because the way they eat is they're pretty dumb with the way they eat. They're really good and very precise with how they use their bill and can slice things up, and they know exactly where they're going to hit with it and like piece things up, but they're not really good with getting it in their mouth. And you think you put this giant thing on their face that kind of obstructs their way they can eat. So I like the smaller baits. It seems like they kind of get them down their throat a little better.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. We've used them all the way up to like 1.5 feet long, 2
Big
feet,
ones,
almost
huh?
giant. These
And
big
they still
giant
eat 'em.
squids. They'll still eat it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen like intricate East Coast sewing of the squid and spending 30 minutes like prepping this perfect thing that's all sewn up crazy, and also seeing guys pin a squid on like they were fishing a calico bass at an island somewhere, and kind of everything in between. How important is I guess you call it the way you rig the squid up for what you guys do?
We get super in depth with it. Probably doesn't need to go that crazy. I think the biggest thing is just making sure that it swims straight and survives the very long fall it takes to get 1,000 feet down. If your bait's all mangled up by the time it gets down there and your bait's just spinning in a circle like a helicopter, like it's bunched up on the back of your hook, then you're probably not gonna have a good shot.
You sew up your own?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of places you can buy good ones too, like Bait Masters, and the tackle shop sells theirs. They're really good too. I trust my own crimping and all that stuff, so I like to do it myself.
There's a video on our YouTube channel that myself and Greg Stotesbury did about how to sew up a squid. It's not that hard, but there is definitely some technique to it, or you want the hook placement and all that stuff, right? And like you say, not have it tear out when you're dropping it 1,000 feet.
You bring up such a good point. Like, it takes a long time for that bait to get there, and then the drifts aren't necessarily short either. Like, you've got that bait down there for a long time, and you have no idea what it's doing. And if that thing is totally boogered up, you've just committed potentially hours worth of time to, like, there's no chance of that thing getting a bite.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than winding up after like a 3-hour drift and your stuff's tangled or your bait's gone or something like that, and you're like, oh cool, I just wasted half of my day basically in these short winter days.
You sew up your own too, Alex?
Yeah, no. I haven't had much experience doing this sort of stuff, so I'll be right behind a master here.
Having Jake show you.
Yes, sir.
And you have Jake sew yours up, right?
Yes.
It turns out that Jake sews up everything for me.
How did I just know that, right?
What I did see, so 2019 was the breakout sword year, and everyone was scrambling. The Avalon guys had been catching them before, And so when I decided, I'm going to start doing this in September, I just called RJ Boyle, talked to his right-hand guy, and said, hey, talk to me like I'm a second grader. What do I need to know? Here's my credit card. Send me what I need. And they mailed out the baits, which included beautiful stitched up squid. I was the first one to put a paying customer on a deep drop swordfish in California. Wow. The squid we used was like 11 inches. I was like, this is like the size of a big market squid. Yeah. The range of baits you can use is incredible for them, is my point. And if you don't have the time or whatever, that's what's great about money. You solve for why by paying someone to do it. So Bait Masters, RJ, there's a host of bait companies that can send you good rigged up squids. Crimp that sucker on, you're good to go.
That's it. I like it.
All right, cool. You have a good one, huh?
Yeah, it says, good morning, guys. Messages for Brandon and really all of the team. One of the things I struggle with is finding the best method of hooking my mackerel when I'm fishing the Hamburgacer rig. Can I ask what has worked best for you guys?
Oh,
That's John
good
in West
question.
Hills.
Yeah, I use that single hook and I go straight up through the roof of the mouth, like between the eyeballs. So that bait's like really on there and really impaled. And that's the opposite. I use like the biggest mackerel I can get. Like you can use like a 2-pound mackerel. It doesn't matter. Bigger bait, the better. Yeah. So yeah, big hook, big mackerel, and just impale that thing right up through the roof.
Right up for the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And is he still alive?
Wiggling like an SOB.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Even more so.
He's upset. There's a flashing thing between his eyes. That rig gets bit because it looks like a mackerel that's eating a sardine or something. And there's a lot of flutter and there's a lot of commotion.
That up through the roof of the mouth is good too, because it doesn't allow it minimizes that hook like ending up somewhere that you don't want it to. Mm-hmm. You go crossways through the eyes like a regular fly line bait, and that thing's shaking so much with the lure putting weight on the other end, the hooks will turn around and catch the gill plate or go into the eyeball or something like that. Like open the mouth up through the roof of it. It doesn't give a lot of room for the hook to end up somewhere bad that might cause you from getting the hook into them when you do get a bite.
I fly line with that outfit too. So for fly line mackerel fishing for sea bass, I always use a crocodile, always. But before I did that, I would just fly line regular, and I would use a treble hook because one prong goes in the bait and then there's 2 prongs sticking out. Just like how back in the day when guys would jig mackerel and fish the Coronados and you talk to Buzz or someone, they use treble hooks.
That's our sea bass, right? We like to take those crocodiles and then just cut the hook off. We like to braze on like a bigger than normal treble hook, like a 4.0 or 5.0 or even a 6.0 treble hook.
Whoa.
We just put one barb into the mackerel and just seem to up through the mouth, but like I like that big treble.
Impaler.
Yeah.
Impaler.
Plus, you hook those things with big treble hooks, especially those. Any fish you hook with a big treble hook that eats it good, like they are extremely well behaved.
Ripping and a tearing, ripping and a tearing.
They don't like that. And do you slow troll that rig too?
I've caught a good amount of sea bass slow trolling, usually when the current smoking, kelp canopies pushed down, which means we actually have kelp, which is a different era. But I slow troll with just a hook them through the nose, crosswise through the nose, or you could hook them in the neck. Big single hook, like an Aki twist or something.
Okay, and no crocodile.
Correct.
Yeah,
yep.
Gotcha. All right. Darren and Menifee says, "Good morning, guys. Sorry for the late show. Is Day at the Docks going to be bigger than ever? Will you guys be there? And so we can talk about swords. Day at the Docks is April 13th, Sunday, April 13th, and Let's Talk Hookup will have a booth there. And Ricky, of course, Fisherman's Landing will have a booth there. Now, you guys are going to be a part of Day at the Docks. Are you going to do some seminars and stuff like that?
No seminars, but last year in the past, Jake's gone down and just kind of informally been on the Freeman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like one of the funnest parts about it. It's nothing is set in stone, but a lot of the boats are kind of coming out of their maintenance period. A lot of the boats are looking really good. Some of the boats are still scrambling and the tarp is up and they're trying to get ready for the oncoming fish. But, that's one of the fun parts about Day at the Docks is a lot of boats, if they are in position, will have like an open house and have the boat open and you can walk down on board and find your favorite bunk or your favorite stateroom. Or, if we get lucky in the case of these guys aren't fishing, you can go check out the Freeman. And
I think what we'll do is we'll bring the Invincible over.
That'd be cool.
We'll have the Invincible over. We'll do 60-mile-an-hour boat rides in the bay. Let's do that.
There you go.
That sounds like a fun thing.
Explain the Invincible. So how does it differ from? It's a catamaran,
there's two.
How big?
There's two main catamaran companies.
Yeah.
Freeman has always been cats. If you ever want to check out Freeman and the story, just Google Billy Freeman story, and there's an amazing 9-minute video about how a blue collar guy created the ultimate boat in his backyard.
Wow.
He never made monohulls before. He solved for why. There's a problem. What do you do in business when you want to be successful? There's a problem. There's a need for something. No one else is doing it. He did that with Freeman. Invincible is a monohull company which started making catamarans because it was a 4-year wait for a Freeman. They went to Morelli and Melvin, which is right here on Shelter Island, and hit them up about the ultimate kind of catamaran design. You can Google that as well. It's fascinating. So
like highest end naval architect type.
Thank you.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So on one shoe, there's this CAD design, in-depth hydrodynamics. And on the other side, there's a dude who's just like chewing on a pencil going like, let's try this and do this. These are the two major players in the catamaran market. An opportunity came up for an Invincible. Someone had ordered one, ate the deposit on it. And it's a long story, but essentially we're buying this boat because we need another boat and we don't want to have to move so much and do certain things. So it rides different than the Freeman.
How big is it?
It's 35. It's about
so
6
bigger
inches.
Than the Freeman.
Yeah, by a few inches, but it's also wider. And the fit and finish on the Invincible is much nicer. There's more seating. There's seating for 7 or 8 people. And it's like a polished charter boat. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It still doesn't ride as good as the Freeman.
No.
The Freeman's like the badass workhorse.
Yeah.
And the Invincible is a little more fit and finish.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a great boat as well. Beautiful tower on it. And that's kind of our sauce and our DNA is go fast.
And how big are the outboards on that?
That has quad 300s on it.
Quad 4 300s?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel.
But
how fast is it?
We tried to race for pink slips in the harbor, and the Freeman like held with the twin 450s.
Cool.
Really did.
Wow.
Yeah. It'll go 60 plus.
Wow.
You don't do that on trips. You pull it back. We're cruising in the 40s usually.
Cruising in the 40s.
With good weather. But
Alex likes that idea.
Oh my God, dude.
The first time I drove the Freeman, I was scared.
I'll bet.
When I bought it in Cabo and like, oh, you can test drive it. And like, I've never gone that fast in a boat either. I was legit like, oh, this is what it feels like to be scared.
That's crazy.
And then you have the third boat you have is the Mexicat. Explain the Mexicat.
Yeah, that's
such a cool little boat.
It's a cool little pocket rocket of a boat. It's a great island boat.
How big?
It's 26.
And powered, what's power?
It has twin 150s. If I could redo it, I would have put 115s on it. As we always want more power.
You don't need the 150s.
Yeah, no. that thing cruises like a Parker does, mid to high 20s. You know what I mean? It's not a performance cat. It's not the Freeman where you can spin on a dime and do all that other stuff. Can get out of the weather in it. The bow's open for fishing. I'm super happy with that boat. I'll run that boat with my customers, 1, 2, 3 people. It's going to be good for this local sea bass we're going to get.
Probably
again.
really good for lobstering, huh?
Great for lobster.
Yeah.
Great on fuel.
Yeah.
Pushing 3 miles per gallon quite often.
Wow.
So that, I looked at the landscape and everyone's going this route of bigger, faster boats and prices are going up. And I was like, well, how do I start charging less? Kind of flip the script,
Yeah.
We're also doing shorter trips this year. In the past, or currently, we do these marathon 12+ hour trips with 2 licenses and have to go far. And then I was also like, not everyone wants to be on a boat for 14 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm clicking it back to 2011, 12, 13, 14 and doing 8 and 10 hour trips as well.
Easier on the pocketbook, easier on the person.
Yep, exactly.
Cool.
And with the speed, you're going to get there anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. Jake and I were talking about it, or texting the other night in Louisiana, which is the market you look at when you want to see go fast cats. They charge a flat rate. The clients charge for fuel. They're doing 10 and 11 hour trips and still going 70+ miles.
Wow.
Yeah. Come home at 5 before the fuel dock,
Yeah. And what how far on a typical trip will you go? It just depends on where the fish are.
How far is the Cortez Bank?
Really?
That's where we go on 1-day trips now. The top end of our range.
Crazy. Wow. That is so
100 miles.
Crazy.
You have to be able to go where that bluefin is. And we've learned the trajectory changes. They're not going to march up the beach and be 2 miles off the beach or 4 miles or 6 miles. You got to be able to fish from the 60 to the Cortez.
Cool. Crazy.
I had a great text says, good morning, guys. So excited to have this team on there. My question is for Alex, knowing that you seem to be the master of the yellowfin tuna. Can you give us a tip for fishing yellowfin tuna on porpoise from a private boat? What do you look for in terms of dolphin behavior, approach, setup on a school, etc.?
Great question.
It's a great question. There's many ways to look at it. The easiest way to tell when it comes to dolphin fishing is the formation of the dolphins, obviously, the movement. I always go by the westward movement dolphins is the one that holds fish. Southern and eastern. It's not always the case, obviously, but the western movement in formation of a dart, you can say, in that triangle. How you attack it, I always like to lead it. Some guys like to just go right in the middle, troll right through it. Personally, I think the fish are on the leading edge. Not always the case, obviously, but the fish are most likely always on the leading edge. Dolphins follow. The dolphins follow the fish. So I like to go in front of it, put my trollers in front of it. Either if you get fish on the slide, pull out of gear in front of the dolphins, that kind of thing. I mean, you'll see it in the machines too, but just from visual fishing, you'll see it. The birds will be right in front, that kind of thing. Follow the birds, follow whatever visual signs you have, but stay in front of the dolphins versus chopping it up. You'll have that school longer under you.
Good advice. You think the birds are the key?
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Yeah. If a dolphin school doesn't have birds, does it not have tuna?
Not always. Not always, but usually you have your single turn bird and you shear water buzzing around.
Mhm.
It's always bird related somehow, some way.
Yeah. Because they're all eating.
They're all eating. Everyone's got to eat.
That's it.
Everyone's got to eat.
Yeah. Another good question here from Troy in Newport Beach. Good morning, guys. I've been fortunate enough to fish with Jake and Alex on open party trips recently. My question is, do they have more open party trips coming for sea bass?
Yeah, we have that schedule. If anyone's listening, or Troy, if you want to text me, it's easy to find my phone number, or just thumb through our Instagram. The PCS show had like a raft of photos and updates and such, and included in that was the open party.
What is your Instagram?
Bight_sportfishing.
Bight_sportfishing. All right. And do you have a website?
We do. I have a website. I'm websited up. BightSportfishing.com.
Okay. And the information's on there
Yeah,
too?
it has the info on the boats, the size of the boats. The website's curious. There's tabs. Every question you could possibly want answered. But the way it works these days is people go to the home screen and then send an email, right? There's no one peels the onion back. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
So all the info's on there, but just, I still call people when they drop an email. I call them because it's such a give and take of info,
Yeah.
So
people are welcome to call you.
Yeah, of course.
What's the phone number?
949-212-0719. And searching anything, Bight Instagram, Bight website, Bight whatever, it all pops
And it's
up.
not B-I-T, it's B-I-G-H-T.
B-I-G-H-T.
B-I, like the California bite, as you always call it, right?
Yep.
With you having multiple giant cats and huge motors, but then you having the Mexi cat and sliding by, how long until you just buy another Arima and they're just running?
Dude, I saw that little one at the show with my kids. I was like, oh, If I found the original Rima, I would buy that sucker back.
Be the Anthony Shea move. Get your old.
There's
back.
something to be said. I love the growth and the everything, but there is something to be said about when it was just one person and doing it, and
One
like
man charter.
the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
Those are fun times.
Those are fun times. I also have a habit of making things what on the surface seems like more confusing than they need to be, but it's just what has to be done to get the job done.
That's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny. That's great. A lot to talk about with Bight sport fishing. I want to know, how much fuel do those quads burn?
It's the same.
Good. Yeah, it's
No,
like
really?
1 to
It's
1,
like
the same as a Parker.
It's so fun.
Really?
The West Coast narrative first was like catamarans. Those don't work. You can't run those. Who would run a catamaran? They're ugly. They trek like they ride horrible. Okay. Now there's like 60 Freemans on the West Coast. Okay. The other thing is the taboo around quads and engines and how expensive they are. You just save the money for it. You know what your repower costs are. You know what fuels are, and you build that into your pricing in a creative way that isn't just copying someone. You know,
lot to it.
So yeah, but yeah, the fuel economy with quads is the same as with twins because they're not working as hard.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup, including finding out who's going fishing on board the San Diego. More Let's Talk Hookup with the team from the Bight when we return. Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app, Facebook, and YouTube Live.
You know, whether you're going fishing, diving, or just having fun on the water, there's nothing more worth doing than messing around in boats. So let me ask you, are you ready to upgrade your ride? Boat and Motor Mart of Oakland is your exclusive Western U.S. dealer for Steiger Craft. Created for inshore and offshore waters and laid out with the serious fisherman in mind, Steiger Craft has built a solid reputation for performance and excellent rough water handling. If adventure on the water is what you live for, now's the time to invest in your passion. Call Boat and Motor Mart of Oakland at 510-437-1444. To look at the whole fleet of Steiger Craft online, go to steigercraft.com. Now's the time for a rugged, reliable, and fast Steiger Craft from Boat and Motor Mart of Oakland.
One rod has set the standard for serious saltwater anglers worldwide, and that's CalStar. From the rugged dependability of the West Coast series, the lightweight strength of the Graphiter, or the performance of the GG series, all CalStar rods are handmade right here in Southern California of the finest materials and craftsmanship. Check out the new CalStar models now available, as well as upgrades to the classic rods that you know and love. If you want your tackle to be state-of-the-art tools to get the job done right, it's CalStar at fine tackle dealers.
The state-of-the-art long-range sport fishing vessel, the Independence, delivers the top quality, comfort, and fishability you look for in a long-range boat. Veteran captains Mark Bizzano and Paul Strasser built this incredible 112-foot vessel with the most modern technology and luxurious comfort available. Once you go on the Independence, you'll be back. Call Independence Sports Fishing at 619-226-6006 or check independencesportfishing.com.
It may be winter in Southern California, but those of us who live here know it's a great time of year to go fishing, and certainly not time to put your gear away. This is Ben, and you will see me at my dad's shop, Dana Landing in Mission Bay, the one-stop shop for a great day on the water. Food, bait, tackle, beverages, and more. This is the ideal time for bay bass fishing, and I get the inside scoop from Johnny. Heck, he will even rent you one of our killer blue skiffs. This is also a good time to go work on your reels, and Doug is the man for that job. If big largemouth bass are your bag, nothing beats East County Bait and Tackle. They have all the right stuff and live bait for a perfect day on the lake. Lemon Grove Bait and Tackle is super cool too for both freshwater and saltwater tackle. ECBT is at the end of the 67 freeway on Mapleview and Lakeside. Lemon Grove Bait and Tackle is on Broadway in Lemon Grove, and Dana Landing is next to the Dana Launch Ramp in Mission Bay. Check danalanding.com for more details.
For 48 straight years, Ford F-Series have been the best-selling trucks in America and certainly number one with anglers. We got here by engineering breakthrough technology, redefining build Ford tough, and never settling. But what really made Ford F-Series number one is you. So now is the time to take advantage of great deals and programs today. Visit your San Diego County Ford dealers today and explore the F-Series and the full truck lineup. They'll be glad to hook you up.
Hookup!
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. What a great time today has been. Lots of fun, lots of good opportunities.
Jake,
we're going to have
coin.
Jake flip the prize coin, let it hit the deck. We'll find if we have a caller or a texter today. Today we have a texter, and congratulations, Ed in Ventura. You won yourself a full day trip on board the San Diego at a C4 Sport Fishing. Congratulations.
All right. Hey, Brandon, Alex, and Jake. Great show, man. We got to do this
good,
again. Somebody wants to book a trip with any of these guys, sea bass, yellowtail, tuna, swordfish.
Sure. Well, first off, if I don't do this, I'm going to get a complaint. I got to say what's up to my kids, Finn and Ella, who are listening, the dynamic duo.
Hey, Finn and Ella.
Love you guys. Ella, I can't wait to watch you win at soccer.
Today. Nice. Sure. Awesome.
Anyways, if you want to hit us up, Google's your friend, Bight Sportfishing. All our info's on there. Or call Jake. Jake, drop your phone number.
805, like that 805. 805-630-2126.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for
Great
having us.
show.
Guys. Great to have you, Alex. It was
Thanks to Adam for all he does on the Let's Talk Hookup app. And, of course, Jeff. Well, tomorrow morning, we'll be back on the Fan, YouTube, Facebook Live, and, of course, the Let's Talk Hookup app. A great show tomorrow with we're going to have Captain Aliar from the Polaris Supreme and Captain Max from the Pacific Voyager.
Nice.
That's going to be a great show, 7 and 9 a.m. right back here on Let's Talk Hookup on 97.3 The Fan, YouTube, Facebook Live, and, of course, the Let's Talk Hookup app. We'll see you then.